working on Labor Day, and not even just working, ready to go back to school. Hello, everybody. Time once again for Moe Factz with Adam Curry for September 5th, 2022, and I'm coming to you from the heart of the Texas Hill Country, and we're getting ready to spin the wheel of topics from here to Northern Virginia. Please say hello to my friend on the other end, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Moe Factz.
How you doing, Adam?
I'm good. I had a completely different opening for some reason. I just let it go.
It sounded good to me.
Long COVID, man. That's what's going on. Mo, it's been
long COVID.
Speaking of, it's been too long. You know, partially my fault. You know, again, stuff.
Partially my fault. Other obligations. We got. I'll take my share of the blame as well. But just want to be honest with people. I've been securing foundational income due to the transition. And now that's over. So thank you for bearing with me, Factz family. And thank you for bearing with me, Adam.
Yes.
So, but that had to be secured. If not, my attention would have been diverted. And that's not good for the show or non-show life.
And we always say, you know, no matter what's going on, it's like, hey, the show has to be top quality. We'd rather wait than just not have it be top quality.
The quality is not an option. And that's the main thing. And that goes into not rushing you to fit inside of a time window. You've had, things you have to do. And like I said, just securing that foundational income. So we don't have to lean on the Factz family as hard because we know everybody's going through it. You know what I mean? So
yeah, no kidding. It's getting really interesting out there in general. Since we last spoke, so. I think the price of gas has gone up 20 cents and come down 20 cents. It's like a roller coaster.
Exactly. So, but we have some happenings going on. So I would like to give you a biscuit, sir. For your belated birthday.
Well, thank you very much.
They always give me a biscuit on my birthday.
Yes, thank you.
All right. So I guess now that we've got good with the Factz family,
and we handed out the biscuits, why don't we go spin that wheel of topics? What do you say?
Let's do it.
All right, there it is. The wheel of topics, round and round it goes. Where it stops, nobody knows. But of course, Moe Factz knows because he's put together, looks like another 40 clips for us. The topic for today's Moe Factz with Adam Curry is...
Pizza potluck.
Yay!
Potluck.
You know what that means. Oh, finally.
All right.
Haven't had one in a long time, like maybe 6 months or so.
It's only appropriate. We're working on Labor Day while everybody is off, so we got to have a potluck.
Right. Yes, exactly. That's what you do on Labor Day. You bring the potluck, you bring all the goodness to the party.
Exactly. So with that said, we got to talk about the big raid in Florida.
The big raid in Florida, the RAID, the big raid, that one?
Yes. Number 2.
Good evening and welcome here this Friday. I'm Mark Wilson.
And I'm Allie Corey. Thanks for being with us. First at 10, Russian collusion in our own backyard. A federal indictment says Russia wanted to cause political turmoil in the U.S. and found a willing partner in a group based in St. Pete. The indictment describes a conspiracy of propaganda, misinformation campaigns, and direct meddling in local elections that began years ago. The indictment doesn't identify the local group by name, but all evidence points to St. Pete's Uhuru house. And today, the Uhuru all but confirmed it. Fox 13's Haley Hines is here tonight with more for us. Haley.
Allie, the indictment says that for more than 7 years, Russia targeted the United States to carry out this influence campaign. It says they recruited 3 political groups, one believed to be Uhuru in St. Pete. They helped fund the group's political campaigns and flew its leader to Russia to form a partnership aimed at sowing discord and mistrust here in the U.S. Despite the indictment, Uhuru leaders are by no means hiding their ties with Russia.
Okay, Mo. Clearly, this is not 45 Savage's raid. This is something else. Did this literally take place at the same time? And this is the first I'm hearing of it?
2 weeks prior.
So still the first I'm hearing of it. And Uhuru, all I can think of is Lieutenant Uhuru.
You talking about the African leader?
No, I'm talking about the lady on Star Trek.
Oh, was that her name?
Yeah,
I'm not a
Uhuru.
Trekkie.
Uhuru.
Don't kill.
Well, I grew up with Uhuru. She just passed away a month ago or so.
Well, hold on now.
What?
That might have been a total different show if I knew that. I'm sorry, I'm not a Trekkie. But no, we have to talk about this raid in Florida.
I didn't know anything about it. This is nuts.
Yes.
Okay.
So the Uhuru is this longstanding African group, African Socialist Party, I think they're associated with. And they were nabbed or, at least raided over the involvement with Russian nationals.
Wow. This is this is
go ahead.
No, I had heard nothing of this. How did you hear about it?
I was searching up Florida raid.
That's how you found No Agenda too.
Exactly.
You have some mad search skills, Mo. You mad skills. You score big when you go looking.
Man, so I was like, whoa, what's going on here? And I fell down that rabbit hole. But it made me think back to the prior discussion that we've had across maybe the life of this podcast about Russian involvement with black, quote unquote, liberation or civil rights groups. So,
or the slaves early on in the
sharecropping.
Sharecroppers, yes. Yeah.
Yes. So it goes back that far. So I was like, here we are. I mean, and another standing quote of the show is, it starts with us.
Yeah,
so
no
I think people need to pay attention of how this plays out, because I think it's a blueprint for what we saw Joe Biden lay out in his in that speech. So I thought it was very perfect.
Let's dive in. I want to know more. What's going on?
So now we have to go back a little bit to show 74 silly mode. And this is talking about Russia has always targeted black Americans.
Russia has for a long time been trying to infiltrate this wonderful democracy republic that we have here in the United States of America. And since they started doing that, their entry point has always been the source of greatest value. Meaning, Baldwin said, the black American, if the black American ever woke up to this, the Negro must understand that we are the greatest threat to this democracy from this standpoint, that how we go is how this country goes. And we don't recognize the power of that, right? And what that means is that we from the inside, and I'm not saying, that this can happen or this should happen or what have you, but based on how we're treated, determines the future of this country, our reaction to it. The Russians have always understood that. So they've tried to come in. They've had various attempts during the first great migration in the 20s and 30s. Right. They came in with the Communist Party, and they played a significant role in defending civil rights for African Americans, right? A. Philip Randolph probably single-handedly was one of the most instrumental. He actually planned the March on Washington. He, Bayard Rustin and others, it wouldn't have happened without him. But also in labor, He changed the paradigm, and he was working similarly to Martin Luther King with the president and desegregating a lot of our workforce. But the Russians also had a hand in that, right?
So I have a question to ask you. Do you think, or what is your take on her take of us being, when I say us, quote unquote, black people, so-called black people, as being a very influential, or I forget the word she used, but basically this is the largest point of conflict for America. If somehow we could basically be radicalized or...
Well, because of the influence that black America has on the rest of America through culture. You mean like that?
Right. And so I just wanted to get do you think she's overreaching it? I mean, I'm just curious because I'll tell you where I stand so you don't have to go step out in the blind. I think if you look what happened at 2020 with George Floyd,
BLM
how that
riots.
One person dying influenced the whole world. If somehow the Russians could harness that power, yes, yes.
Well, to some degree, they did, Mo. To some degree, this was organized by Marxists. no one's really had time to sit still and think about that. But unfortunately, it seems to be more a problem of fascism, where you have corporate America really funded that. That's where all the money came from. There were some big talkers, but it was Nike and McDonald's and it was big corporations who were sending money to very vague nonprofits, who mainly were their job was to get people out of jail without bail.
So that's pressure from above, pressure from below, because we've talked about it before, and I think the last show, or maybe 2 shows ago, how the powers that be fund both sides.
Exactly. But that's kind of the point. It's like if someone has to fund it. If it was the way I saw it with the Floyd riots and Black Lives Matter Inc. That was corporate America. And that's, now you're down the ESG rabbit hole. So why are they doing it? What is their incentive? And it's really it's not even ideologically driven. It's just profit driven.
And the Russians, I think Yuri Bizanov, I think if I pronounced that correct.
Yeah, good old Yuri. He said, if we just started this in the 1950s, it won't take long.
Well, the thing is just keep people fighting. It doesn't matter who wins. They just need to keep what they call, quote unquote, stirring the pot. Mm-hmm. And this is a great way to stir the pot. And so now we have, this is Karen Hunter, and she's having a discussion with Drew McCaskill, and he's going to bring it up to the 2020 election in this next throwback clip from 74.
Tell me about the 2016 election and the Russians and what you know, Drew.
So what made me, like, the hairs on my neck stand up when I saw some of the things that you were going to talk about today is because what happened in 2016 is that, and all of the intelligence bureaus have said this, right? Even though the administration continues to just sort of like ignore it. But all the intelligence bureaus said that Russia was very specific about engaging and infiltrating Black social media circles. So they were very clear on trying to create divides within the African American community in the 2016 election by creating things like anti-Hillary memes in Bernie circles, anti-Bernie memes in Hillary circles. And also they spent the majority of their capital on trying to influence African Americans in social and digital spaces.
Okay, that would make sense. That's where you want to do it.
Right. And this is how ADOS got accused of being Russian bots.
Oh, of course. Because they are Russian bots. It's not ADOS, but the Black Twitter is Russian bots, and they all know it.
Right. And so you have this group actually pushing the memes, or alleged to, let me be very clear, that are alleged by the FBI that are pushing misinformation, disinformation through backing from Russians. And they're open about it as we get deep. I mean, they don't make, and when you go to their website, they're very pro-Russia.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's okay. I mean, what I'm trying to figure out is, they got raided, but it was raided because of a connection to some Russian that the cops were looking for, right?
Right. So I guess we can go ahead now and jump into number 5, and that may answer some of the questions that you have.
My name is Alexander Ivanov from Moscow.
In March 2022, Uhuru leaders held online discussions with the president of the Moscow-based anti-globalization movement of Russia. With help from a translator, the FBI says he spread Russian propaganda.
Western propaganda is lying when they say that Russia has invaded Ukraine.
This week, that man was indicted by a federal grand jury in Tampa with conspiring to use a number of U.S. citizens as agents of Russia.
The facts and circumstances surrounding this indictment are some of the most egregious and blatant violations we've seen by the Russian government in order to destabilize and undermine trust in American democracy.
The FBI alleges from December 2014 through March of this year, Alexander Ionov was actively working to sow discord, spread Russian propaganda, and interfere with elections in the U.S. and around the world.
Well, this is kind of interesting now. This is a bit of a twist. It does answer it, because what the guy is saying is, at least, their very superficial account is, hey, this thing in Ukraine isn't exactly what you're being told it is. And of course, that's why they'd have to go after a guy like this, because, that's disinformation.
Right. And what he reminds me of, but maybe not to the scale of, you watch Homeland, right?
No, I'm sorry. You
didn't watch Homeland. That's like Mr. Robot gave us some clues of what the future's supposed to bring. Homeland.
I know.
It's some interesting stuff.
Listen, I had to do The Wire, then I had to do Man in the High Castle. There's just not enough hours in the day.
I know. So I know you play catch up, but if there was a character in Homeland that was basically playing this role of, it's really just funding and giving people platforms, and I'm letting people know, just as simple as hopping on Zoom meetings with certain people and taking funding from certain people can get you in this trick bag.
Of course. But what I'm trying to understand here was, what was the goal of involving Uhuru? Was the goal of this to have Uhuru spread that their disinformation to Black America? Was that the idea? I'm just trying to understand.
I think it's to amplify.
Okay, just to use them to amplify.
Right. I mean, I think the Uhuru were doing this anyway.
Well, why don't they send me a check?
But the Russia came in, let me amplify it. Let me give you.
They should send me a check. I'll do it. Just send me a check.
Oh, be easy. No, I don't want none of that red money. No. Because that's as easy as it could be. Mm-hmm. It's like, hey, we like what you're doing. Let's,
Right.
But it has to be, like just not donations, but it's just like, let's make a form. And they were hopping on Zoom meetings with this guy, and it's just that simple. So
right, okay.
And like I said, it starts.
And they were good because they have some influence, or what the Russian disinformant is looking to get is inroads into media, social media, and ways to spread his message.
Right, and just to sow discord. It doesn't matter who wins. It just keep them fighting. So that's how this kind of thing works. So
is that really what he was doing? I'm just questioning. I'm just, was that his entire job, was to sow discord?
Well, let's get into some of the other characters, and I'll let you form your own opinion on it.
Okay.
I don't want to lead you. I want you to.
I've heard so much Russian disinformation that I'm immediately skeptical. Okay, what is it? What exactly was this person doing, and with what goal?
That's my point. All it has to be is
that. It's just that.
Russian. It's just like Russian and Russian provided information. It doesn't matter. That's the low bar we're talking about now. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I just won't let. This is why it caught my attention, because it's like, wow, even they said making memes. Hillary Clinton. So
making memes. Well, yeah.
That's a very low bar. So let's go ahead and get into part 3.
The indictment alleges he and the Russian Federal Security Service relied on social media and also directed and controlled 3 political groups, one being the Uhuru movement in St. Pete.
Russia has recruited and forged ties with persons and groups around the world who are positioned to amplify and reinforce Russia's messaging campaigns.
They're using Russia as a part of a propaganda tool against the people to turn you away.
Uhuru's Aretha Akile Kenyon is alleged to be the candidate Russians were supervising in her 2019 run for St. Pete City Council, offering consulting and funding. At this point, Kenyon is considered an unindicted co-conspirator, but has not been charged.
Why take their money?
Did I ever say I took any money? See, no. I never. No. That's what I'm accused of. I never said that, so don't put that in my mouth. I didn't say that.
Did you take money from
look, I don't want to answer your question because you want to take it somewhere. I don't want to take it there.
There was also apparent Russian influence in the 2017 St. Pete race for mayor. The Uhuru group seen here disrupting political events. According to the indictment, the word reparations was part of alleged discussions between Ayanov and another unindicted co-conspirator who appears to be former mayoral candidate Jesse Neville.
Oh, okay. There you go. There's your Discord. Hey, reparations. Just throw that in. Reparations. Yeah, that'll do it.
But what did the lady say that was talking to Joy-Ann Reid? I forget her name. I forget her name. The one that brought up the black bots, the Russian bots point. Yeah, they're spreading things like reparations, tangibles. That's all it takes. And so Akili Anaya, she is the director.
Was it Shireen Mitchell?
That's it.
Shireen Mitchell. Yeah.
That's it. I don't know if you have the clip right offhand, but basically you talking about reparations, you talking about tangibles, anything, that's enough. Discord when you connect that to Russian influence.
Yeah, the problem is I have like 5 clips of this, so I'm not sure which one it is.
That's fine, but people are. I mean, you got to go back. I mean, I think the show Black Bots covers the whole thing.
It does. Yeah.
But just basically, that's what she listed out. So you asked about Akili Anaya. Well, she has a couple of different names. Aretha, I think she also goes by Aretha Akili. She was the director of the Department of Agitation and Propaganda for the African People's Socialist Party.
Oh, nice gig. That's a nice business card to show.
Agitation and propaganda. People, and I'm not saying she per se is LARPing, or when you start throwing those kind of titles behind your name.
Right. Now this is interesting because this brings in the political element. And so when I hear Russian disinformation, meddling, I mean, it sounds exactly like a Trump thing.
Hello.
The obvious, as usual.
Now, this is where you just poo-poo. Like, sounds like a Trump.
Sounds like a Trump thing.
This is how you get half Americans in a trip bag.
Yeah.
By lowering the bar.
Yeah.
Oh, you like this tweet. You retweeted this tweet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You drink skim milk.
Yeah. Is that vodka? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's enough. So this is what I found. And I was like, this is very interesting, especially the timing of it. And I have to ask, what's going on with the Florida FBI? Because they raided Gillum. Mm-hmm. Then you have this, and then you have the Trump raid. So what's...
Well, I'd say...
It seems kind of schizophrenic in a way.
Yeah, but, that means that there's a red team and a blue team. I think there's just one team. It's the money team. Mm-hmm. The money team makes calls the shots.
Yeah. So, I mean, I just... Hopefully, like I said, hopefully I have your picture interest, because...
Definitely.
This is a very interesting case. So what we had to do now... Oh, the other thing, she was running for office.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that works if you're taking funds from a...
someone offered consult. I mean, the wolves come in many clothing in this business. Consultants pop out of the woodwork everywhere. This is kind of the thing. We don't have to belabor it, but the podcast movement was kind of a whole woke fest. I don't know if you followed any of that went down.
I did.
Yeah, you did.
I did.
But it's kind of the same thing as in politics, where you've got all these like hundreds of consultants running around, and and here's what they do. They find a marginalized group. Women, BIPOC was big this year, so a lot of literal Africans who went to Ivy League schools here, but a lot of BIPOC. And the consultants then, they find these companies who are, they need to check off an ESG box and say, oh yeah, well, that's $200,000 for this series of podcasts. And they take 30%, and it just repeat, and it goes over and over. That's the same in politics.
But then they kill it. That's what they don't understand is when you take it from the creators, you kill it. And I don't want to belabor the point, but we saw this with Versus now.
Well, but remember when we... Yeah, no, but it's even worse is sometimes they don't even... There's nothing to kill. They go on get the pieces and put it together and say, here's your show. Tailor-made for your ESG boxes. But yes, when it's an actual creative something and you reduce it down to the way the consultants do, my point is, it's the same thing with politics. You get the, you get the speechwriter, you get the PR person, you get the media coach. That's why Joe Biden is still president, because all those pieces just keep functioning. Whether he does or not is unimportant.
Correct, and as well as political pundits, because there's no doubt in my mind, if I chose to put on the red hat and take, the party lines, I could easily be at CPAC. And that's not.
Oh, are you kidding me?
Ego.
No, you would be the most welcome guest. Oh my God, a black podcaster, bring him in.
Right,
front row.
And it's the same way with Charlamagne the God on the other side. You see what I'm saying? They look for these kind of people that they can package to push their message. Mm-hmm. But the problem is you have to take the packaged message that comes with it. It's like, here, you could talk about these things.
That's what.
And I actually had I don't want to, but we can move on. But I actually had a whole segment that I took out the potluck concerning this that I might use on a later date.
Okay.
But yeah, so now we got to go to Mr. Jesse Neville, because that's the guy that was running for mayor that was associated with the Uhuru movement. So let's go ahead and get into number 7.
My name is Jesse Neville, and I am a candidate for mayor of St. Petersburg, Florida. And I'm running on a platform of unity through reparations and economic development for the black community. And along with Aretha Akile Kenya.
He's black? Because I can't even tell. He's not black, he's white?
No, very.
Reparations!
And along with Aretha Akile Kenyon, who is running for District 6 City Council.
Hey, man, what does very white mean? Hold on a second.
What do you mean?
Yeah, you said very. He's white. Yeah, he's very white. What's very white?
No, what I mean by is like, it's the idea. He looks like a guy in a picture frame. No, seriously. I mean, like, like when you buy a picture, they have that picture in there.
Yeah.
He looks exactly
in the wallet.
Right. He looks exactly to the hair. Everything's perfect.
Like Gavin Newsom.
Manicure. Who?
Gavin Newsom.
No, he's more of a, not Gavin Newsom. He's more of a, how like when a handsome guy puts glasses on to look smart?
Yes.
It's that kind of thing. But and then he plays the woke pocket. I mean, he's on point with his talking point. I mean, I got to give him his credit, but it's just so stark.
Yeah.
You hear the Africans People's Socialist Party, and he's the one, running for mayor. It's just very stark comparison. So that's what I meant by very. I just, not actually translucent or anything. Yeah.
Let's start it over.
My name is Jesse Neville, and I am a candidate for mayor of St. Petersburg, Florida. And I'm running on a platform of unity through reparations and economic development for the black community. And along with Aretha Akile Kenyon, who is running for District 6 City Council on the same platform with the slogan, Radical Solutions for Radical Times, we have entered into the electoral arena to represent the interests of the people of the city and to represent the desire of the people of the city to fight back against the status quo. And we're not typical political candidates. We're not interested in waging a typical political campaign. Our campaign is a people's movement to take back this city from big money, from real estate developers, from gentrifiers, from corrupt politicians, and basically from, the corporate elite who control City Hall right now and who control the elections and all the other politicians.
Well, I hope you brought your tent then, Jesse.
So, all his talking points are on point.
Yeah,
but
totally.
There's one problem is that, and this is why I stress this, referring to it as atonement. They have made, and it's been for a while, reparations a dirty word.
Who is they?
If you hear how
who's they? The politicians or?
Both sides of the political. Because the Democrats don't want to talk about it and the Republicans ain't going to think about it. So,
it's like plutonium. It's not good.
Right. It's like, I could get behind anti-reparations. And some people might be thinking like, well, y'all talk about reparations all the time. I speak from the angle of this great political tension, as a way to bend a political party to your, to your desired effect by withholding your vote for your demand. Just like you've seen how amnesty, you know what I'm saying? Everybody's like, amnesty would never happen. That was the kind of thing like, it'll never happen. Look at the border now.
Do you think this reparations talk still has impact? Does it still get people's attention? Do they think, or is it more like, yeah, okay, sure, brother. Yeah, we'll see.
It's a huge problem for the Democrats still.
Right, but I'm thinking for Black America, are they, when they hear reparations again, are they still going for Lucy's football with this one?
Well, they're not to speak for a whole group of anybody, but
of course
the way this
you're
works
different,
is
Mo. That doesn't count. You're special. You're different.
Right? I'm different. Okay,
you're not typical.
So the thing is this: the further this message travels, and people start thinking like, I should get something from my vote, right? It's not the actual reparations that's the problem. It's when people start saying, hey, I should get something from my vote.
Yeah, the quid pro quo.
That's a very problematic. Yeah, that's a very problematic idea for people that's been getting something for nothing.
Yes, instead of I'm voting for this party because it'll make America better. Now everyone's starting to figure out, it's better just to vote for your own pocket.
It's just like student loans. You see it's the same thing. And that's kind of like when you start talking to people on both sides of the political spectrum, they start to clam up for the people that got something out of it. It's the same people like big government need to stay out of it. But then, that $20,000 drops off your loan. It's like, so it's a huge problem for this message to spread because it starts getting people to think about becoming politically mature and getting something for something for your vote that you've been giving it away. So both sides have an interest in killing this idea in its womb. Because look at amnesty. It was talked about for 20 years. Like that'll never happen. That'll never, they'll never.
There it is.
And it's chipping, and they just kept chipping away and chipping away and chipping away, and boom, the border's blown wide open.
Well, Mo, we never thought we'd have vaccine passports and mandates and lockdowns and curfews, and I think we've departed so far beyond that station that this current group of leadership worldwide, they know how to do it now. Oh, we can make these people do anything. We can do anything.
But I think they're losing their grasp. I think the people that's bought in buy further in, but you have a bunch of quote unquote normies like that are waking up and like, whoa, like, maybe I'm not getting up for my vote, or hey, that's messed up, or this messed up, or are you pushing that idea? So they don't want us.
I think people don't know anymore what to do about it. They've lost faith in. I mean, I know what to do about it. You have to start at the local level. You have to go back to your city council and your school board. This is going to take rebuilding. This is not just now I'm going to get something for my vote and it's going to fix everything. We're busted, brother. We are busted.
And now you see why these two kind of candidates are dangerous.
Yep. Exactly.
You just said you fixed the problem at the local level. They're running at the local level. So that could be the reason why
it's worth a fight. It's worth a fight. This is worth a fight then. Okay. Well, I'm with you.
All right. So let's go ahead now. And this is Achilles. This is when she was running for candidate for city council. And I want you to watch this trick that this reporter tried to play on her to pivot the message away from reparations and how she handles it. It's in two parts. Let's go and get to part 1 and 8. Number 8.
You want to be the next District 7 council person?
Well, I feel like my platform, Reparations and Economic Development to the Black community, is the only platform in this entire race that stands against the Black community being gentrified out of existence in this city. The Black people right now are under attack by the city government. We're being pushed out by people, gentrifiers, land developers, the politicians in office. They work for them. They're being funded by them. My opponents are being funded by these big developers. Rents are going up. Luxury apartments are being built everywhere. No genuine affordable housing. And Reparations and Economic Development is the only genuinely progressive platform that speaks to social and economic justice for everyone in this city by ending the oppression of the Black community. And if I don't do it, if we don't do this right now, there won't be a Black community in 2 years.
Okay. Whoa. I'm going to address the elephant in the room. Your opponent, Chico, you're familiar, he has made statements that he doesn't support the gay agenda, as he calls it, and he plans to make sure that taxpayers don't go to support gay-supported things. What do you think about all that?
What did he bring that in for? Where'd that come from?
That's the pivot. Let's get you off that reparations. Let's start talking about some LGBT.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I'm telling you, this reparation thing, we've been on it for 6 years, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
As
far as you've been, watching what's going on at 2016 election, and we start talking, you see it's picking up steam, and it's not the point of. I don't think anybody thinks like, oh, if I don't get it, my life will be over. It's the point of, oh, you want to come talk to me about voting? This is what we want. This is what we want. And when you get voters on a single message, whether it's guns, reproductive rights, I mean, every group has one kind of thing that drives them to the polls.
Yeah, but we need a community organizer. If only we could find one.
No, sir. So let's go ahead and get into part 2 and see how she handles this,
this
pivot from this reporter.
Pivot, yes.
I'm going to address the elephant in the room. Your opponent.
Interesting that he said, why is it the elephant in the room?
I don't know.
Okay, I wonder if
all I have is this clip. So
okay,
I guess it was an ongoing thing.
All right.
His comments being, inflammatory. And he has to be the good, strong reporter to address it.
Okay.
Just the elephant in the room. Your opponent, Chico, you're familiar, he has made statements that he doesn't support the gay agenda, as he calls it, and he plans to make sure that taxpayers don't go to support gay-supported things. What do you think about all that?
Well, I want to redirect this discussion because I think that this whole thing about, this non-factor candidate who hasn't raised any money in his campaign, he's not running a real campaign, he's not the person I'm fighting against. In fact, as offensive as his remarks are, the reality is the elephant in the room is the oppression of the Black community. And the media is attempting to divert everyone's attention away to the real fight, which is the fight against these big developers, these gentrifiers that are pushing out the Black community. They're trying to divide the people of the city by making the Black community the face of anti-LGBTQIA, but that is not what this fight is about. This fight is with us and the big money politicians and the big money developers, and I won't even engage in a conversation about a non-factor when my real opponent, the incumbent, is the one that is responsible for opening up the door for these gentrifiers, for people like Carl Nurse to come into my community and push us out. That is the fight. That is what the people are talking about, not this nonsense that the media is trying to tell people that is the problem. That is not the problem. That is not what I'm hearing when I'm going door to door talking to people. They're talking about their rents going up. They're talking about sewage in their water. That's what people are talking about. So if the media has their ear to the ground and is actually listening to the people, you would know what this fight is about, and it's not what this person is saying.
Wow. All right, impressive.
Now you can see why the Russians were interested in her.
Yeah.
And she's easy on the eyes for the thirsty Factz family out there.
I gotta look her up now.
Yeah. So I like how she said, I like to redirect the conversation, and went right back to her talking points.
Yeah.
And like, nah, you're not going to knock me off my, what I'm here for. Now, with that said, I will never get down with anything socialist. So that's where they lose me at, because I don't, well, I'm pro-capitalism. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think.
And with a small c.
But I think that the way civics has been taught, she looks nice. The way civics has been taught is, this is new. This is not your daddy's socialism. This is new socialism. We're just social towards each other. You like social media, don't you? You're a socialist. I mean, I think that's really been pumped into a lot of people.
I don't think it just doesn't jive with me. And I think there's a lot of people that think like me when you hear words like communist, Marxism, socialist. Mm-hmm. It's an instant no. So with that said, I think that's where she loses a lot of people, and why she probably didn't gain a lot of traction.
Right.
But on the other hand, you can hear that she's polished and her messaging. So I could see her being very prized
asset.
Now, why wouldn't they want to use it? I was trying to avoid that because I had so many connotations with it. But yeah, asset of the Russians. So or alleged. And let's be clear, alleged asset of the Russians. All right. So now we got where we at?
We're 10.
Okay. Yeah. Now we got to go back to the original report, and this is the fourth part.
According to the indictment, the word reparations was part of alleged discussions between Ionov and another unindicted co-conspirator who appears to be former mayoral candidate Jesse Neville.
I think all of us that believe in the democracy that is America ought to be concerned because if it's coming down to even the local level, then our entire democracy is at risk.
The Uhuru house was one of 3 locations in St. Pete raided Friday by federal agents as they collect evidence for the current and possibly future indictments.
Today's action should serve as a deterrent to other foreign adversaries that the FBI will not tolerate meddling in our democratic process.
The other political groups allegedly recruited by Ionov are in Georgia and California. The feds say what makes this alleged activity illegal is that no one involved was legally registered as a foreign agent. If convicted, Ionov faces up to 5 years in prison. There have been no other arrests, but the FBI collected a lot of evidence, so that certainly could change. Allie.
It makes you wonder where else this could be going on and how much of it is going on. All right, Haley, thanks.
Really, how much of it is going on? It could be going on everywhere. There's Russians under your bed.
Under your bed.
It's another Red Scare. Ooh, the Russians. Yeah.
But they've been building on this since 2016. And it's I noticed this dangerous slide from the Russian government, Russian leadership to Russians. You know, it's every Russian. We talked about it on the show before. They're being, harassed and, just for being from Russia.
Now, to be fair to all this, Russia basically kicked all of our non-governmental organizations, all of our NGOs out of Russia many years ago. In fact, right after Hillary Clinton messed it all up with her Great Reset button. And because we're the kings of this. I'll say we, the United States, literally did this in 2014 all the way to Ukraine's parliament and the president. And we meddled in the elections. We did all kinds of horrible things.
But we can do that.
Yeah. Well, can we, though? I mean, it looks like we're starting to suck a little bit at it. Whereas the Russians, and I believe Yuri, whatever his last name is, I believe Yuri is very sincere in saying, oh, no, we just started this in the schools. And it's here. It's been here for a while. We weren't seeing it. We weren't paying attention. But this particular candidate, she's captured. I mean, she's real captured. I don't know if by Russia or whatever, but you just got to put it all together. I mean, look at the classic Marxist training of BLM Inc.
Right.
You look at this, and like, well, the Russians, they got a different way of doing it, but it's pretty effective.
And they say, because I think, let me go back to an article right quick.
Because you remember our only answer to that was attacking, you even brought it up, attacking the Russians in the home. Well, Putin's doing this, but he's not taking care of you, looking out for you and your COVID. And that didn't work.
Right. So, I mean, they try to demonize Putin, but I think Russia is on this whole this is breaking news. Russia is on this whole nationalist kick down to the way they look at women. They're celebrating women for having multiple Russian children. Yep. They're on this whole thing. And this guy, Alexander Ionov, he was, what was it? He ran the anti-globalization movement of Russia.
Yeah.
So anti-globalism, that's going to become a dirty word.
Anti-globalism or globalism? He ran the anti-globalism movement of Russia. And one of the things they did was promote the California secession from the United States. So, but like I said, only thing they need to do is agitate, and that's what her
It's in her title. She's the director of agitation. Department of Agitation and Propaganda. So, but I used to say she was captured. So I guess we need to hear more from her. And this is a week later after the raid, and she addresses the media.
For that. St. Petersburg, Florida, at the center of an FBI investigation, the U.S. Department of Justice is looking into the Russian government's alleged interference in U.S. politics, including right here in our Bay Area. Last week, the FBI raided the Uhuru House, home to the African People's Socialist Party. The group has been a fixture in St. Pete for decades. Well, today, 10 Tampa Bay's Liz Crawford met with members of the group. They say the feds are after their movement and what they stand for, and it has nothing to do with Russia.
A formal news conference on their terms in their building and a chance to tell their side of the story.
They say it's about this thing with Russia, but it's not about this thing with Russia.
According to the indictment, leaders with the African People's Socialist Party are accused of coordinating with Russian government officials over the last 8 years. Last week, FBI agents took over the Uhuru House, located in South St. Pete. So far, no one with the organization has outright denied the allegations.
We are not speaking to the issues within the indictment because we know that, first of all, it's illegitimate.
Thursday, Uhuru members showed reporters property damage they say was caused by the feds. Broken glass, torn up wood. We saw similar damage upstairs. Leaders said doors were busted when FBI agents raided the building.
That's a real raid.
Yeah, that's a little different than going through Melania's closets. Yeah, that's a raid. Yes, exactly.
Broken glasses, doors knocked off hinges. I wonder why the difference. Approach.
Yeah, that's that's fascism. That's what you do. You scare your political opponents, and even though these people have probably done nothing really directly, they're just inviting. The whole thing is like, political, political meddling. What is the charge here?
Let's see.
It's not much of a. It's like, okay, what are you actually charging this guy with? Let me see. Where is it?
The cooperating with Russian officials. I think that's
okay. So
government officials.
Yeah, so that would be a FARA violation. Okay,
and they were I guess the Russian officials were enlisted as foreign agents.
We're not listed as foreign agents.
Yeah, we're not. So that prohibits you from speaking with him.
Correct.
I don't know how that works. I mean,
no. Half the people in Washington D.C. do not have FARA registration, but they should. So it's just correct. It's just one of those perfect tools.
Okay, let's go ahead and pick up with part 2 of this clip, number 12.
They're trying to put together this case that is not there against our party, against our movement, and against the black community.
A former FBI special agent in charge told 10 Tampa Bay the Russians look for groups willing to spread their message.
They don't really care what party is in power, what political party is in power here. This is all about weakening the United States, whether, it's pitting Democrats against Republicans or rich against poor or workers against management. It doesn't matter.
Preying on the United States through divided states of mind.
Literally trying to undermine the
this was really interesting from a media deconstruction perspective. So he's saying something, and they felt it so necessary for you, viewer, idiot, that we're going to insert this bit to tell you what the guy is actually saying.
Management, it doesn't matter.
Preying on the United States through divided states of mind.
And that is our interpretation, of course.
Literally trying to undermine the confidence, the trust, the unity that exists in the nation. And they'll do it in a lot of different ways. And this example is just one of the many ways in which they will do that.
And this was the FBI speaking?
Yes.
Okay.
How is it those socialists are being rated under a Democrat president? I mean, because obviously they're is this something local?
Yes. That was just exactly what I was going to say. You said it earlier. What's up with the Florida FBI? Well, maybe whoever runs money runs stuff. It's all political. Gillum was political.
Right.
This is political. So who knows? This sounds a lot more local, but it could be very important. Is this a big county? Is it a big city? Is it There's something about it. They're afraid it could ignite more.
Or do you need the numbers? So when you say, oh, we found through our investigations, we found so-and-so number of Russian agents.
Well, that was the headline. That sounded good. I mean, that's why immediately I'm like, what is this bull crap? Russian disinformation. Okay.
So that's what really made me start thinking is like, are these rogue? Like you said, is it blue factions and red factions and down this Florida FBI? Or is it?
I think that's very possible, Mo. I think that's totally possible. Florida's red, so we go after blue. And why wouldn't the feds down there be blue? Or be red? And
let's not forget, this is where woke goes to die. and you don't get any woker than you're saying Russian.
Not much. It's about the pinnacle. You can't go beyond unless you got a P tape or something. Then you might do a little better.
So that's why I want to pick up on just the whole politics of it and why is this happening? So let's go ahead. They brought up another point that the Uhuru house has a history. So now we have to go back 25 plus years. I think it's more, but it's 25 years from this report. And there was I'm not going to give it away. Listen to the similarities that may have happened in 2020 and what happened 25 years ago from this report.
Long live Tyron Lewis!
25 years to the day.
Long live!
At the exact intersection where he lost his life.
Black community control police!
People gathered to remember Tyron Lewis.
I can't even imagine how my brother would look right now, or what he would be doing, or how many kids he would have right now. 25 years of pain, anger, sorrow, frustration, everything.
In 1996, Tyron was stopped by police at the intersection of 18th Avenue South and 16th Street. A white officer shot and killed the unarmed 18-year-old inside his car. The death splintered the area, the city on the verge of chaos.
This is Air 13. Had not heard that. We're going to go check it out.
The unrest went on for days with rioting, rock throwing, and fires, putting St. Pete in the national spotlight. The anger and violence erupting again when the shooting was ruled justified and the officers cleared.
To show black people that we didn't forget, show the city we didn't forget.
On this tragic anniversary, Tyron's family and members of the International People's Democratic Uhuru movement came together to honor the teen's memory and to continue to organize for change.
He would have been 43 years old if he had lived to see that. He didn't live to see it, but he was a martyr that now we can take his name to forward progress for black people and fight for progress for black people.
The group has spent years trying to push the city to recognize Tyron's death and pay reparations.
Long live Tyron Lewis! Reparations now!
They hope their continued calls for justice will save lives and bring about real change in the community. Catherine Hawley, Fox 13 News.
Just hit me that just an odd coincidence that St. Petersburg, Florida, of course, we have St. Petersburg,
I was waiting
Russia.
for that. Yeah. I was waiting for you to pick up on that. Yeah. Well, so Tyron Lewis, it was in 1996 when this happened. Kind of like a pre-George Floyd.
Yeah. I don't remember this at all. You remember this actively?
I don't.
No.
This is just tells you how a city can riot and for days and it just gets wormholed, gets memory hold. I mean, so.
Well, but that was also kind of, early days of internet, social media, etc. So, you've got to take that into account. 96.
But 96 was a hotbed of race, with OJ coming off of the Rodney King thing.
Right. It's so weird, Mo, because that was kind of the height of two of my careers. Mm-hmm. Kind of the pinnacle of, MTV got out in end of 93, started I had my radio thing going. Then I started with the internet stuff, took my company public in 1996, was around, but it didn't register the same to me as it does now that I'm really paying attention, which says a couple of things. Do you know what I mean?
Well, the main thing is, like you said, the internet amplifies this stuff, which when you add that to what we're discussing,
it's the problem with everything, but it's also, if we are smart, it could be our way out of a lot of the problems.
Yeah. Once you start paying attention like we do on this show and start seeing cycles, if you realize it's a cycle or a habit, then you can break it. It's like, let's stop this.
Helps if there's more than one of you, for sure.
Yeah. So let's see. That was the past of the Uhuru house. And one of the claims they made, I heard in a clip that I didn't use, they said they used every ounce of teardrop they had in St. Petersburg on the Uhuru house. Because that was like ground zero of the protests and riots.
Tear gas.
Tear gas, yes.
Yeah.
Every ounce. So
doesn't surprise me.
So fast forward, we had some events that happened prior to the raid that's odd, to say the least. 14.
Well, developing tonight, St. Pete police are investigating a fire at the Uhuru house after someone was seen on video burning things with a flamethrower. You can see that person in the corner of your screen there. Police say a flagpole and some palm trees were set on fire. No one was hurt. Right now, police have not identified anyone involved.
Was it an Elon Musk flamethrower or a real flamethrower?
It was a military grade, quote unquote, military grade flamethrower. That's the report.
But did you see it? Did you see this thing? I gotta see this thing.
Well, it had video. And you probably can see it if you copy one of the titles of this next clip. We stopped at 14. So, they found the guy that would, that would burn an African flag in front of the Pan-African Uhuru house. 15.
First in St. Pete, a man is now in custody after officers say he used a flamethrower. You see that on the right side of your screen right there to burn an African flag. This was at the Uhuru house over the weekend. Kenny Raymond from Tampa has been charged with criminal mischief.
I got to see this thing. They say it's here. I want to see this flamethrower.
The only problem is,
shoot! This thing does look military grade. Oh man!
Can you see Kenny?
Yeah, I can. Holy crap!
Kenny happens to be a so-called black person.
Oh, okay. I can't really see him. Yes. Okay.
Why would a so-called black person be burning an African flag a week before the FBI raid?
Doesn't seem like like something you do.
It is,
and that's all he does. He gets out, gets the flamethrower, blasts the flag, and puts it back in his car and leaves.
Strange. So now we have Omali Yeshitela. I think that's how you pronounce it. He is the chairman of the African People's Socialist Party, and he's on Democracy Now! So this got national appeal. The story did. This is a bit of a long clip, so you can stop it wherever you want to. He has a storied past with quote unquote black rights in that area. So let's go ahead and listen to him talk to Democracy Now! About this raid and the prior event to the raid.
As we turn to look at the FBI raiding several properties in late July in St. Louis, Missouri and St. Petersburg, Florida, tied to the African People's Socialist Party, which leads the Uhuru movement. The Pan-Africanist group has been a longtime advocate for reparations for slavery, a vocal critic of U.S. foreign policy. The raids came as the Justice Department indicted a Russian man living overseas named Alexander Yanov, using U.S.-based groups to spread Russian propaganda. The groups were not named in the indictment, but reportedly include the African People's Socialist Party. One of the FBI raids targeted the home of Omali Yeshitela, the founder of the African People's Socialist Party. He accused the FBI of targeting his group for their political work. He's joining us now from St. Louis. Can you, though, go back to the end of July and talk about about what happened. Talk about that day of the raid. Where were you?
They had already knocked out the windows in the house, in my house. They had knocked some doors loose from the hinges. They had come through the back stairwell, as I mentioned. They used flashbang grenades in the rear of my house, plaster all over everything. And in St. Petersburg, Florida, 27 days after they had done what appears to us now to have been a test run on July 2nd with someone pulling into the parking lot in broad daylight and from his car trunk, pulling a military-grade flamethrower to torch the 15 by 25-foot red, black, and green flag that was on this 50-foot flagpole. And this had occurred. FBI, Homeland Security, local police came out. They refused to charge the guy with anything except some kind of misdemeanor mischief.
Dude, even owning that thing is a problem. You can't have a flamethrower.
Oh, yes, you can.
Don't you have to have some kind of...
I don't know, but I know...
Pay some stamp duty for it?
I've heard...
I mean, I've used one. I've
heard people where you can buy them openly.
You can buy a lot of things openly.
No, I mean like on reputable websites, they have them for sale. But they only charge them with... Yeah,
that's bullcrap. Something's up with that. But the whole thing, he just gets out, torches it, gets back in. That's not arson. That's some other type of provocation.
And how is that not a hate crime?
Totally.
And can a black person create a hate crime against another black person?
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's impossible. No, I don't think that's possible.
I don't know.
I don't think so.
It's strange. I mean, I found it to be a strange, fascinating story. That's why I brought it.
Well, hold on
you
a
and the Factz family. Yeah, go ahead.
Did Juicy Mole? Was that deemed a? Of course, it was nothing. But was there ever a charge of a hate crime?
No.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think it's possible.
The reason why I asked that question because you're thinking from that side, but I'm thinking more of if you say a quote unquote person is a white supremacist sympathizer,
mm-hmm.
and he acts on the behalf of white supremacy, quote unquote, the way they use the term. You know, how they everybody that's black, this MAGA is basically a white supremacist sympathizer now. Could that be seen as a hey? I just a question randomly. We're doing potluck, so we might throw it out there.
I don't know. I mean, we'd have to have a real world example. I don't know. It would be very confusing for everybody.
This would be a great example because he targeted that house by the choice of his target, the flag.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I think your answer is clear. It's like go home, no fine, no penalty. You're done. So your answer is no. It's not deemed a hate crime.
Very fascinating story. I thought that would be a great first block to the show.
I had no idea that had happened. I mean, a lot of it sounds familiar in how it's operating. Good to keep our eye on. I appreciate it. It's a good one. All right, first part of our first block of the potluck.
I guess now we got to thank the people that make it happen.
First, the white man and the black man have to be able to sit down at the same table. The white man has to feel free to speak his mind without hurting the feelings of that Negro. And the so-called Negro has to feel free to speak his mind without hurting the feelings of the white man. Then they can bring the issues that are under the rug out on top of the table and take an intelligent approach to get the problem solved. That's the only way that they'll ever do it.
Oh, that's right. Moe Factz with Adam Curry, a value for value podcast. You have been continuing to send the value. It continues to come in every single day as you're listening with one of those modern podcast apps, which you can find at newpodcastapps.com. If you're just getting started, want to figure it out, you can actually earn as you mess around with the Fountain app. That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
But the value for value principle is so much bigger. It's time, talent, treasure. It's how we interact with one another as people who create the program, and we really do it all together as producers. There is lots of information, thought, thinking, emails, tons of stuff that you guys send in, and of course the treasure, which is incredibly important. We'd like to thank our executive and associate executive producers in this first block. And it's been very nice to see that Matthew Messer came in with $500 thanking us for the valuable insights. He is Sir Dude named Matt. And Matt, thank you so much, man. No other note.
Whoa. Not only he's Sir Dude named Matt, he's Big Baller.
He is indeed the
Sir
Big Baller.
Dude named Matt.
Shot caller, 20-inch blades on the Impala.
You are right. This is the Big Baller thing has been hijacked by Podcasting 2.0. I just hope you know. Okay. Like everyone's using it. I hear it everywhere, and I was like, oh, well, there you go. It got out of hand.
No, it didn't. No, this is what you contribute to the lexicon.
That's right.
I take that as a
it is a compliment. It is a bag of honor.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Sir Dude named Matt. Seth Peterson, 273, and says here, for the excellent research and discussions on episode 85, you read an email which I sent after episode 84. I did not send it intending for it to be read during the show. It was meant to be some potentially new source material from Mo and a statement of appreciation for what you two have been doing. Okay, so what he then says is, don't read all this. If you need to read something, read this. Okay, that's exactly how we got in trouble the first time. This is a thank you for what you two are doing. Keep up the good work, and God bless. Seth P.
And the 273 is important because he sent $1 per word for it. From the last message.
Longer.
That's why I included that in there. That's
funny. I like that. Well, thank you very much, Seth. Seth P. Much appreciated.
We appreciate it.
247 from Zoe Hannon, and just says, thank you, Mo and Adam. I always look forward to a new episode. Thank you very much, Zoe. Appreciate it. Benjamin Nidus. Oh, I know this, Benjamin. Donation is for 1987, and it is $198.70. The year RoboCop came out. Yes, the Moe Factz with Adam Curry favorite. I realized after a toot on NA Social and having had a new Detroit meetup this past weekend that I had derived more value than I realized from the third wave episode. I was feeling all icky. I didn't want to feel like a deadbeat. Please read if time permits. Not only that, but just for good measure, we're going to de-deadbeat you.
Congratulations. You're no longer a deadbeat.
You might not have needed it, but might.
And I have his post here. I'll read it right quick. It says, regarding RoboCop, hashtag New Detroit and the OCP, a transnational corporation, quote, globalist entity providing a private police force. Please re-listen to the third wave Moe Factz with Adam Curry episode. Show notes and clips are a veritable treasure trove. Okay. So, appreciate that.
What episode was that? Do you remember? What number
that was the one where we talked about the police state. And
no, I know. But what number was it? What episode number?
That was 41. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. So 41.
Thanks, Ben. Caleb Michelson, $100. No note, but we appreciate it. Judy Schwartz, $100. Y'all did it again. Thank you for the Evolution show. Oh, that was a good one. That was
I
a
think
good
that
one.
ruffled a lot of feathers.
No, I think it was good. Everyone got a jolt out of it.
Good. That's the point. Yeah. So.
Michael Kemmerer comes in with our show donation amount, 86. Thank you. You nailed it. You get your special spot for that, Michael. William Cameron, associate executive producership, $50. Keep up the good work, gents. Having a place to learn from both of you through your brilliance is immeasurably helpful. Oh, that's very kind of you. Kyle Mann, 50. We appreciate that. And Douglas Mook, what does he say? All I got is Overman. Great episode.
That was the Overman.
Oh, the Overman. Oh, yes. And also $50. And I think that does it for our executive and associate executive producers. We do have a few more to thank later on. I would like to thank some of the people who sent us boostergrams with the new podcast app. We have Gene Everett, 100,000 sats. My first time sending value to Moe Factz with Adam Curry. We'll be adding value again soon. Can't say enough how great these conversations are. Not only informing, but frankly, I believe decades from now, this content will be just as important as next generations listen back for the real story. Such a great job by both of you. Thank you. Harvat, Moe Factz, certified misinformation free by me. He says, with 86,000 sats, show donation there. Cool one. We'll put that in, Harvat. Bully Steed.
Wait, let me ask a question. Does that count as a show?
Well, it's 86,000.
So I want to be clear. We're saying like, do you have to actually do the translation over to the $86 if you want to send a boost?
That's a good question.
I got a lot of questions today, so you don't need an answer right now, but maybe we need to let the people decide, like, how does that work? If you send in
at $86 and 86,000 Satoshis, definitely not the same value,
of course,
monetary value. Needs to be discussed. I agree. Thank you for stopping. We'll think about that.
Okay.
Thanks anyway, Harvat. We appreciate it. Bully Steed, 60,000. Mo, thank you for paying attention to everything. Adam, thank you for paying attention to Mo, who is paying attention to everything. Blessings to you both. Harvat back again with 51,500. Fantastic content, he says. Starship Alves, always an interesting, informative, and entertaining listen. Sir Wags with a 33,033. Thank you for your courage. We've got 20,420. I see you, Scott. Keep going. Thank you very much. Dave Ackerman, 8,008. Value for episode 85. 4 7s, the Striper boost from Timmy 2383. God bless you both. And then we get down to, we only read above 1,000 Satoshis. Brian Glass, I think 55 boosting to supplement the cuck bucks I sent. High five. Thank you. We have big fans in Hawaii, says one in Alini, one with 3333. Show Baraka, says Esley, and Esley also with another 2,000 sats. Got to have enough MAMs for the next NAM. Mo and Adam, you've opened my eyes on so many topics. Thank you. That is Sarzo winding it up with 1,000 Satoshis. It's very easy to do. Get one of those new podcast apps at newpodcastapps.com, and you can be supporting us with value in real time as you listen. It doesn't get any fairer than that. Of course, we love your PayPal. We love your emails. We love all the messages you send us. And whenever you're doing these boostergrams, clearly we read them all. It's a great way to support us. It's highly appreciated. And it does keep the engines running. So thank you for supporting and bringing it for Moe Factz with Adam Curry, episode number 86.
All right. So we're jumping into the B block.
All right. B block.
We're going to start with a throwback clip from show 67, Q Hopium. And the only thing I can say to sum this clip up is land back.
Hello, Antifa. It's me, Ghazi, the commander-in-chief of the Black Hammer Organization. Land back. Land back. Land back. Land back. I heard you had some not-so-nice things to say about me. I heard you had some nice things to say about my hammers. I heard you had not so nice things to do to one of my members, one of my dear members, an African Filipino mother that you doxed and thought you could get away with it, thought we were going to back down, thought we were going to take it. No, that's not going to happen. You messed with the wrong one this time. Yes, oh yes you did. Oh, yes you did. Because we don't take it lightly when harm is done to our African and colonized women. And that's why at Black Hammer we say, touch one, touch all. 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 And you touched one of us. So now you touched all of us, and we're gonna have to do something about it. Land back? Land back! Land back? Land back! Land back! Land back!
Oh, man, I forgot about this. Black Hammer Party. Yeah.
Yes, Black Hammer Party.
Yeah.
I think that's Ghazi is his name. Well, Ghazi popped back up into the news.
Oh, boy.
And before we get into exactly what he popped back in the news for, we got to do a little coverage of what he was doing after we covered the show. So these next two clips come from him at a rally in front of CNN building. They got a huge Russian flag. I'm talking about big Russian flag.
Yeah.
And he goes on this tirade across these two clips. Let's just go ahead and hop into number 19.
Land back! Land back! From Atlanta, Georgia, in the center of the Clinton News Network. Yes, or the CIA News Network. Or the Colonial News Network. We We are here in Atlanta, Georgia, celebrating Victory Day and Mother's Day. Mother's Day today, Victory Day tomorrow. In unity with the Russians who are fighting against the United States of America. They are hiding behind Ukraine, a country that the United States of America created, a Nazi racist country. You understand? And tomorrow, Victory Day, is the Victory Day because it represents the day that Russia, the USSR, defeated the Nazis. And we are anti the Nazis, are we not?
We are.
We are anti-white power, are we not?
We are.
We are anti this slave America, are we not?
Yes, we are.
America is a parasite of a country, is it not?
Yes, it is.
It was built on the slavery of Africans and the murder of indigenous people. And it is kept healthy out of the bombing and droning over our lands around the world, over this mass imprisonment of black and brown people.
Hey, you know, this is great. Look, listening to this in our A block, you know, this is probably legit Russia. I think you're right. I mean, this is clearly not the Democrat Party, even though some of the messages may agree. The message should not be spouted in front of CNN with a Russian flag.
And we all know the Democrats is anti-Russian.
Yeah,
that's the weird thing. Yeah. Like they're pro-socialist, is socialism, and you know that political mindset, but they're anti-Russia.
They're anti. I think it's globalist versus anti-globalist,
right? Which was Alexander's name of his group, literally.
Yes, hey. You're right. Huh.
So I've just found this strange that he popped back up in the news. Let's go ahead and get to the second clip of his Victory Day speech.
And CNN has a lot to do with that. Because it is a propaganda tool. The biggest propaganda tool of the United States of America.
See, this is the thing, is like, yeah, I agree with you. 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 Oh, okay. No, I got to stop there. Got to stop there.
Fake news. Spreads lies. Say fake news.
Fake news.
They lied about the vaccine, did they not?
Yes, they
did. They lied about.
See, that right there proves this is not Republican or Democrat. They lied about the vaccine. Trump hasn't walked that back yet. A lot of people waiting for that, Mo.
It ain't gonna happen.
I don't think so either. I don't think so either.
Did they not?
Yes, they did.
They lied about the economy, did they not?
Yes, they did.
Joe Biden promised a lot to black people and hasn't given nothing. Ain't that right?
Yes, he did.
And I believe that they did steal that election. I believe that they did steal that election.
Wow. Oh, this is so confusing. Now maybe Russia was influencing Donald Trump. I'm so confused.
Exactly. I'm not saying that he did. I'm just saying this.
The confusion.
When you hear this message, all these messages, it blurs the line. Like, what do I really? Who am I? Whose side am I on? Whoa, you know what I'm saying? Like,
well, this is clearly. I mean, it's all Russia. I mean, this is really Russian talking points. Although I believe most of them are true. Yes, the United States did create Ukraine 2014. Totally.
The vaccine, the election, we had that discussion.
We probably created the damn COVID virus in the first place and then shipped it off to China, and then they blew it. Yeah.
All right. Go. I don't find any issues with what you're saying.
Thank you. All right. 21?
Hold on. Wait. So now, fast forward from this speech, he pops up. This is when he popped up on my radar again. 21.
Developing tonight, we have now confirmed that 2 men arrested in a Fayetteville SWAT standoff have ties to a group some are calling extremists.
Kind of a twist to this story. Black Hammer members openly say they have an alliance with the Proud Boys, which the SPLC, the Southern Poverty Law Center, has classified as a hate group. Don White's been digging deeper into the Fayetteville connection.
Oh, hold on a second. This is phony baloney. Okay, I get it. These are a bunch of LARPing actors.
Which one?
This Black Hammer. The Black Hammer is full of crap.
That was the original question that we had before on the previous show, 67.
And what did we decide?
We didn't, because we ended the show is like, we don't know what we just witnessed. Is it LARPing? Is it real?
It's good. It's well done. It's really well done, because I'm like, this sounds, we got a thing with the Proud Boys. Okay, so this is now the crazy black Trumpers, I guess, or, more Russia, be afraid of Russia. Go ahead.
And it aligns with what you were talking about with these podcast groups looking for talent. It's like, let me find the talent, and then I can give you
exactly
how I'll present it. Like the Akili, she's very talented. Ghazi, he's very entertaining. You know what I'm saying? In a funny type way.
Yeah. It's just media, Mo. It's just media, different versions.
But media becomes mal and misinformation.
Well, of course.
When you label it that way. So did you play the whole clip?
No. I had to stop it. We continue.
You had to stop it.
We're going. We continue now.
A captain here at the Fayetteville Police Department confirmed both suspects are part of the Black Hammer Party. That's a controversial group formed in Atlanta in 2019. The normally quiet Woodbine subdivision lined with yellow crime scene tape and police cars on Tuesday during a SWAT standoff.
We've had our commander-in-chief, Commander Ghazi Kotso, arrested, as well as our chief of agitation and propaganda, Colonel Kino.
Today we confirm one of the people arrested and charged in that standoff is the leader of the Black Hammer Party. He goes by Ghazi Kotso, but his real name is Augustus Romaine. A spokesperson for the Black Hammer Party told us today they don't mind being called an extremist group.
If we take that with pride, we take that label with pride, because that means we're standing in line with those in history who have stood against evil and stood against oppressive systems.
Oh, no, man. They got a bonus if they would be called that. That's what's going on here.
I don't think they are either that or they're supremely ignorant in saying I take pride in being called in the street. I don't think you understand what special features that unlocks in the justice system. Like, oh, yeah? Extremists?
Yeah, you
like,
don't
let me
really
get the other book.
Want that. You don't really want that.
So I guess we didn't get into what they did as far as the crime. Let's get into the second part of this clip, 22.
Fayetteville police responding to the subdivision Tuesday after receiving a 911 call from someone saying they were being held hostage. When police went into the home, they discovered an 18-year-old man's body. They say it appears he may have shot himself in the head. We've confirmed Romaine and Xavier Russian are facing numerous charges in connection to the young man's death, including aggravated assault, kidnapping, and criminal street gang activity.
This isn't the Black Hammer Party's first run-in with the police. We are going to fight these charges.
The way I understand this story is they were holding an 18-year-old hostage, and he ends up killing himself?
Yeah, that's what it sounded like.
I don't know how that works. I mean, a kidnapped victim killing themselves, but it's like I said, it's just weird that this popped up. This is kind of like what you get on the plot. It's not like
no ready-made answers. I get it, but this is fascinating. And the Black Hammer was also, of course, implicated in involvement with what's his face, the Russian. What's his name? Alexander.
Is that Georgia group?
Yeah.
Right. See what I'm saying? Yeah, he's the Georgian wing. I couldn't find out who was in St. Louis, but this is the Georgia wing. So that he was dealing with.
Yeah. Crazy.
I just find it weird that a dead body pops up in their house and they get arrested for it. Is it cleanup? Is it time to get rid of?
Could be. I mean, this is recent though, right? This all went down. Yeah. That's crazy. I hadn't heard.
All right, so I think we go ahead.
No, I hadn't heard any of this. It's irritating. This is great stories. I love this.
All right, so now we get more. This is 22B, and they go in more detail of what the crimes were.
We have new information tonight following a SWAT standoff in Fayetteville. In the last few hours, 11 Alive just obtained the arrest warrants for Augustus Romaine. He's the alleged leader of the Black Hammer Party, a controversial group formed in Atlanta in 2019. He's facing several charges tonight, including kidnapping and aggravated sodomy. In the warrants, police say Romaine and another man, Xavier Russian, forced two victims at gunpoint to leave the common area of
of the house and locked them into a garage. Then they allegedly forced the two men to stay in the garage while Romain attacked them. Romain and Russian are both expected to be in court next August 16th.
They got some cool anti-Semitic stuff that they threw in here.
Mm-hmm.
Calling Anne Frank a whiny Karen. All right.
But I just find it interesting that they're raping these two people, but the guy kills himself.
Well, they didn't really say that, but aggravated
sodomy. I mean, like,
yeah.
And I mean, that could be, interpreted a bunch of different ways, but aggravated sodomy, and the guy like kills himself, or did they shoot him? I could never get a clip. These are the best clips I found on the subject, and nobody really explains who the young men were. Was this kind of like a Ed Buck kind of situation?
Yeah, I don't see any further follow-up stories that I can find easily.
But I just wanted to touch on, these are great kind of like stories that we talked about it previously.
Yeah.
One was the Russians, involvement. Once again, this is Russian involvement, but this is somebody we talked about, and we made it very clear we don't know if they're legit or if they're, control opposition. And for the story to end like this, I just found it, something I wanted to share with you and the Factz family.
I think it's beautiful. I need to keep my eye on groups like this. This is fantastic. It's like a whole subplot. And
I'm going to say two words. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I'm going to say two words that, since you said keep your eye on something. Patriot Front. Just keep your eye on them.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
I got a file open up on them.
Yeah, these guys seem pretty phony baloney. These are the guys that were in the van. They were
in the U-Haul.
Okay. Yeah. Well, so there you go. What we do for real in other countries, we LARP around ourselves here against our own people. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
I like brand new money. I don't want any money around me that's not. I'd almost rather have a new one than an old 20. Now, that's kind of dumb, isn't it? But there's something about new money that excites you. You like $100 bills?
Oh, yeah. I like new money, too.
Oh, most beautiful thing on earth is a $100 bill. I hadn't seen a woman as good looking as a $100 bill. There's something about a $100 bill that excites you.
We are just blasting through the show today. This is great. We have our third and final block coming up, which seems to be quite sizable.
It's a little longer, yeah. So
thanking some more of our producers who came in. We do want to recognize Cameron Rose with 45. Let's see what Cameron says. Mo, thank you for another great episode. I knew you'd rise to the occasion. I really appreciate you bringing more information about the evils of eugenics to your producers. Yes, this was very good. First, my pushback was about the slandering of Darwin merely on the basis of the full title of Origins. I got a lot of pushback on this.
Mm-hmm.
This was simply and demonstrably false. Just read the book. Because some people misunderstand his work as no excuse to tar him with the same brush. Words matter. Well, I read the title of the book, and that's where it came from. But yeah, so you can't judge a book by its title? Would that be fair to say?
In fairness, I did follow up with his other work that had very clear racist,
genocidal
ideas
tones
in it.
Yeah,
sure. Genocidal tone. So, I mean, we can't please everybody. So,
words matter, and we do ourselves a disservice when we debase them as the Marxists do. No, yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you've made your point. I think we question everything, and we're not jihadist about it. As to your question, Mo, and your quote from Dissent, you are correct. He is using the word race in the modern sense, but let me rewrite the quote for the modern ear. Quote, hundreds of years into the future, Europeans will almost certainly have killed, interbred, or culturally absorbed the Paleolithic people of the world. He doesn't advocate or delight in that statement. He just notes it as the inevitable conclusion of his own theories and observations, given the behaviors of the European. Okay, so I think what we're all saying here is he meant exactly what he wrote on the title. Doesn't mean he was a racist. That seems like what we're trying to get to here. Does that make sense?
I can see how they can see that, but I would push back since they push back against me and say that you say words matter and then you reshape his quote for the modern ear.
Exactly. That was beautiful.
But I love you, Cameron. I love you.
Oh no. And of course, back in the day, the racism was not even considered racist. It was just what it was. It's just how you talk, how you were, how you acted. We've come a long way.
And in all fairness, we can't look at it through this lens. I understand their point. It's not missed on me, Cameron. They say it's very dangerous to look at words through the lens of today.
Yeah, always.
But my basis is that, as you said, that he was it shaped his thinking, and his thinking shaped a lot of other people after him. Now, did they misuse or weaponize his ideas? Possibly.
Before and after him. Of course.
Great note, though.
Yes, appreciate. But for sure, that title is not something everybody knows. Unless you go look at it, you're like, oh, hold on a second. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Paul Yassi, 4444, and says, please de-deadbeat me. Sure.
Congratulations. You're no longer a deadbeat.
$40 from Ramon Lerma. Keep hitting it out of the park, guys. We certainly intend to. Brendan Guzman. Hey, Mo and Adam. 3333. Love the show. As an American living in the Netherlands for the last 4 years, I'm learning more about my homeland now than when I was living there. This is a donation for my 33rd birthday, August 24th. Sorry, we're a little bit late. Some home buying karma as my girlfriend and I enter the notorious Dutch housing market for the first time. Thanks for everything you do. And I think I should probably give you a little biscuit for your birthday.
They always give me a biscuit on my birthday.
I'm sending you tons of good ass energy. Take that, take that, take that.
You've got karma.
Christopher DeBiase, 33, value for value. He says, thank you, received and appreciated. Colin Cunningham, $30. Netflix, regarding Netflix carrying water to what they think someone is. What was this about? What were we discussing?
That's the covenant changing the cover art.
Right. Based upon who you are, right.
Who they think you are.
Who they think you are. He says, I watch a lot of Japanese films and anime in the original Japanese and with subtitles so much, in fact, that Netflix started defaulting to the Japanese language track if one was available on English, German, Spanish language content, and I never changed anything in the settings. Something in the algo, I guess? Keep up the good work. Yeah, that is the point. The point is the assumptions, and in this place, that's the easiest algo. Oh, you're looking at a lot of this. We'll give you more of that. But to just assume that someone wants to see the Black Lives Matter February Black History Month series of trauma-based entertainment is a little insulting. Because I think that's where the discussion came from.
And them thinking who you are and putting the most minute character of color on the cover art if they think you're a person of color, aka a colored person, and so that's the real magic of it.
It's better. I think they know. They know what color you are. They know. They purchased the MasterCard Visa history. They know exactly what kind of color you are. The thing that's insulting is the shit they think that you like. That's the one.
I don't think they are, because my unscientific experiment is that they give me the white covers.
Well, that's what they think you want.
Oh, I see what you're saying. It's not about what you are, but what you want. Okay, I got you.
Yeah. Now, who
it's
you
that
are?
Mad Man. It's that Mad. See?
Well, it's true. It's true. If you put Mo and Adam next to each other, you may make some really strange assumptions about what we like and don't like. And as you and I know, we're like a lot of the same things.
Right.
It's just I usually watch them 20 years later. Jared Westcott.
Which give you a good perspective, though.
It does. Jared Westcott, $25. Thanks. We appreciate that. What is this in red here?
This is more pushback.
This is Srinivas Murthy, $25.
Yeah, you remember this. It involves a tweet, but you can continue with the note.
Okay, I'll read the note. It may not have been in good taste to have tweeted my disagreement with the previous show. Perhaps I should have held back, but it is what it is. Unfortunately,
can you stop right there and just I'll explain why I tweeted it?
Sure.
In the actual show 85, I made a statement saying, because I mispronounced, I thought I was mispronouncing a name, and I said somebody will discredit the whole show off of me mispronouncing a name. I actually made that point.
And what name was it?
Well, I mispronounced, I think, Nietzsche. I thought I was mispronouncing, but somebody said
Nietzsche, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so, I mean, somebody said I was saying it right. You said it a little different, but I made a point on that. It's like they'll take that and discredit everything I presented, but this was because of a different name.
Oh.
You actually referred to Aldous Huxley as Adolphus Huxley.
Yes.
And this is why I kind of went quick into the second donation block, because there's a lot of good notes and a lot of good feedback, and we love the feedback loop. That's what makes the show better.
That's value for value. That's how it works. You send it in.
Exactly.
We'll do it.
So he tweeted, and it's not important, like I said, that it wasn't a personal thing with us, because he actually made some great points. And we're saying other things that he brings up. It was just the fact that I said someone was going to do this, and he just happened to be the person to do it. So it's nothing personal.
And I think I said something rude back to him.
We're not even going. I didn't bring.
That's typically what I do.
I'll let you address that part of it, but I'll take my half of the involvement. And his tweet said,
"Yeah,
go ahead.
No, go ahead."
In the tweet, he said, "Who in the heck is Adolphus Huxley?" That's who you refer to Aldous Huxley as. At Adam and at Moe Factz. Show 85 referenced him. Wasn't it Aldous? Moe Factz, Allah at last, is becoming tedious and full of holes yet again. I didn't even say his name wrong. And you said Adolphus, and I was like, I don't know Adolphus. I didn't know if it was his cousin or, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, I don't know Adolphus. But I'm just saying, like, you use a mispronounced name to go talk about a whole show full of holes. And then, like I said, it's not make it personal, but address the holes, not the mispronunciation of a name.
No, but
the discredit person.
So I've been doing this for a long time. This is very typical in one way. That's very atypical in the other. Mm-hmm. Very typical is that you'll make a mistake, and then someone will turn it into, once again, shows is no good because that's another fact that they're no good. That's what people will do. But Srinivas then went back and donated. So that's atypical, and I got to give him big mad props for that.
And I do too, because it's that communicate. That's why I showed me saying to address the note in a respectful manner and make him understand it.
But
I wasn't picking on him. It was the fact that
listen to this. Let me read this note. Oh, shut up, Srinivas. You're being. I was gonna be nice to you. Now I'm gonna call you out. Unfortunately, I disagreed with many aspects of the episode that were clearly a reach. Doesn't mention any. Be that as it may, I now know the Moe Factz No Agenda Twitter family is a rabid bunch when someone criticizes shows. We're just family. That's what cults do. Sad to see it here. Of course, I've learned a lot from other episodes. For that, I'm grateful. One last thing, Adam, I spiced up the GFY sandwich. Oh, with a special, that's what I told him to go have one of those sandwiches. It was awesome. Namaste. It's all right. Srini
I'm just trying to figure out how I got sucked in it and discredited, and I did nothing.
When he says Mo, then it's, in this case, it's probably just more about the show in general, not necessarily you.
Right.
But, but I can understand, that borders on racism. Certainly coming from someone from India or Pakistan or Asia somewhere, and then to right away accuse the black man. I got to tell you, that's what cults do.
No, I think the real issue is, and it's not that. I think the real issue is that Darwinism, is a big third rail.
Hot button.
It's an unknown third rail. I assumed it because people base a lot of their beliefs off of that, and it showed up. Which, like I said, I appreciate the pushback.
There's something interesting going on, which let's just touch the rail one more time. We have the James Webb Telescope up in action, and I've been collecting articles and blog posts and. I haven't really found any published peer-to-peer studies yet, But astronomers are very concerned because they're not seeing what they're supposed to see. There should be I think it's called red shift or red phase or red shift. What they're seeing is not an ever-expanding universe. Let's put it this way. There is, in general, no evidence to be seen of the Big Bang Theory. And there's astronomers who are posting stuff like, have we been wrong about this? So there's a lot more to come when it comes to Darwinism or evolution versus creation. It's going to be a very interesting
space
time.
in there too. Space in there too. It's a lot. And you're hearing the antiviral thing. And the virus is real. I think we're going into a new age of, I don't want to say discovery, but revisiting some of the things that we just accept as givens.
Well, it's going to be hard for people to revisit this one. This is a tough one. And I think that this is maybe why I don't hear so much about the Webb telescopes. Like, oh, shit, that's not what we were supposed to see. You know, it's dead stars. There's nothing growing. There's nothing expanding. It's completely the opposite of what they said. So,
but great notes.
Take that,
and we're not a cult.
No, I'd take. Yeah, it's a little offensive, but that's typical. That's what people say. So, I'm not. And thanks for the support. If you donate, you can bitch all you want.
Yes, yes,
and we'll read it gladly.
Feel free.
Yeah, of course. Uncredible Trucker, $20. And he says, as you rightly pointed out, Darwin did not come up with evolution, only popularized it. Western civilization learned of evolution through Western universities who taught of the Greek philosophers that debated evolution. They got it from the Hindus of India. See, this is why Shrin is all pissed off. Hinduism.
You know what? I didn't even read these two notes together like that. I mean, because it was, I'll read them as they come in. But I didn't put it back to back like that either.
And we can't assume just by the guy's name that he's a Hindu. But in case he is, Hinduism teaches that all struggle to physically improve and transform in life also, not just reincarnation, becomes higher forms of life. Racism is built into the religion. They defend a racist Darwin as father of evolution because that's far easier than defending a racist ancient religion as the father of evolution. I'm uncredible, so pay attention to everything. Look it up yourself, and
I think he wants to finish the line. And the truth will reveal itself.
I got you. No, I got you.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. So the idea here is, instead of calling religion racist, they defend this is heady stuff. We need to dive more into this. I appreciate these notes. It gives me something to think about. I had no idea.
It does, really.
I had no idea this was going on.
And I had no idea I was touching the third rail. So, I mean, that's the cool thing about it. Usually I announce it with pride. Like, we're going to a third rail.
No, now you just got zapped. Ow, what was that?
Yeah. I'll be revisiting the rail, though.
Here's some $20 from Christopher Smith. Great show. Like getting the ADOS perspective. Thanks from Chris. Jennifer Cato, 20. Carol Chase, 20. Grant Convey. Always looking forward to hearing your perspective and bringing up yet another book to add to my reading list. Thank you, Grant, with 20. H. Garrett, thanks for the great discussion on shows 84 and 85. Hope you like 86. Matthew Weaver, 20. Eric Hoff, Barbs. Then we have 15 from Eugene, SV. These are $10. Jacques Delisle, Jeremy Kavanaugh, Benjamin Barlow, Walter Faust, Terrence Lynch, Roberta Recchia, Vanessa Steinbach, Rorschach, and Rory White Photography. Fluffy Bottoms Farm, hello. We love seeing you guys there. Seth Peterson, again. Dwayne Spellman Jr., Arsonomics, Eric Runkle, Andrew Butterfield, and Aaron Sneed. Then we have Johnny Hipwell with $9.99. Appreciated. Mark J. Asher with $9.12. Vincent Farrell with $5.55, James Holly with $5, and he'd like a Mo Karma. We'll be happy to give that to you.
You've got
Mo Karma.
Joshua Goodson, which is monthly subscription. $5. Thank you. We appreciate those monthlies. Excellent deconstruction, he says. Terry Keller, the human subscription, $4.11.
Whoa. Oh, y'all about to say get it right. Yeah.
I got it, yes. And Alexander Nelson, $2.19. Thank you for paying attention, he says. And we appreciate all of this. If you'd like to learn more about how to support us, there's multiple ways to do it. Go to mofactz.com or direct a donation page at mofundme.com. Thank you again It's nice. Good notes. Really appreciate it. Thank you for supporting us with time, talent, and treasure. Truly this time at the Moe Factz with Adam Curry, episode number 86.
All right. So actually it's C block, but I had, like I said, I removed another short block out of here that I'm going to make another whole show out of.
No. Okay.
Yeah. So it kind of happens like that. It's like, and it starts to balloon into a whole another rabbit hole. So we got to talk about monkeypox. And
of all the things I need to talk about with you, it's monkeypox. I'm all ears.
Monkeypox, because once I started reading into this, I see a lot of similarities of things that we talked about before on other shows. But how the story began. Do you remember the story of the truck turning over with the monkeys and why nobody's talking about that anymore?
We laughed our asses off because it happened like a day before show day on No Agenda. It was a dump truck, which is what Dvorak thought is hilarious when there's an accident with a dump truck. And then the lady, she went in and touched the monkey. And then the whole town was like, hey, there's a monkey. They couldn't find a monkey. Where's the monkey? And that was ground zero of the monkeypox.
And the reason why I bring this up is, I always bring up old movies. We talked about Demolition Man and the things that pre-predictive programming that was in that movie. Mm-hmm. Outbreak, the actual term outbreak monkey, kind of came from that movie. It was popularized. That term was popularized by that movie.
Sure.
Where a monkey escaped in a rural area, you know what I'm saying? And then it created this pandemic. So what I want to do is revisit in these next two clips that actual crash. Because it's been erased from my memory. I haven't heard anybody link that.
No. We were the only ones who did it. We're like, this is it. We're all going to die. We didn't know. This is before monkeypox.
Exactly.
We were just doing the same thing. Oh, where's Dustin Hoffman? It's all over. This is outbreak. What idiot touches the monkey?
All right. So let's get into the backstory of the wreck, and then we'll move forward to what I find disturbing about this whole narrative.
Now to a bizarre story involving the crash of a trailer full of monkeys headed to a lab, and a woman now experiencing health problems after coming in close contact with the primates. The woman says she has been put on preventative medicine for the next 2 weeks, but there are some questions tonight into what these monkeys were being used for and what they could have been infected with.
Look down in more and it popped up some monkey.
Michelle Fallon never thought something like this would happen.
I thought, well, zoo monkeys. I didn't know these were animal test monkeys.
After witnessing a crash on a Pennsylvania highway and stopping to help, she learned the truck was carrying 100 monkeys from East Africa, headed for a Missouri test lab.
I thought they were okay, they had their shots, they're good, they've been checked. I didn't know they could have diseases or whatever.
After checking to make sure the driver was okay, she went up to the trailer full of crates, thinking there were cats inside.
They had this green cloth over, so I peel it back and I go to stick my finger in there to try to pet it, and it pops its head up and I'm like, oh, it's a monkey.
3 of the monkeys escaped in the crash and 1 was recovered. 2 others were put down.
Man, we had this moronic kid. I'm trying to think. It was like a teenager in his bedroom. Oh, man.
What happened?
Well, it was just like this stoner dude. I'm trying to look. I'll see if I can find it because it's a very funny clip if I can find it. I don't want to stop the flow.
Yeah, so basically she goes pets the monkeys. Just to go fast forward a little bit, she ends up sick. But nobody really talks about it, and nobody, like I said, once this story kind of fell off that cliff of, relevance, nobody's revisiting it and say, is this a link?
It's interesting, isn't it? Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting how no one brings that back up. I totally agree.
And I'm making a comparison to how we went all the way to China to find some bat in a meat market somewhere to say that's the bat,
right?
But we got 100 monkeys crash, 3 escape, 2 get killed. And all of a sudden we have a thing called monkeypox spreading.
I called that predictive programming right there. That's what I saw.
So let's go ahead and get into number 25.
3 of the monkeys escaped in the crash, and 1 was recovered. 2 others were put down. But the hours-long escape forced health officials to issue an alert, warning the community not to come into close contact with the primates because the species commonly spreads herpes virus B.
I'm like, well, I was there and I touched everything.
That alert leaving Michelle on edge and unsure of what to do. Her close contact later leading to pink eye and flu-like symptoms.
I walked through their poop, I touched their crates, I tried to pet them. So now I don't know what's going on.
As a precaution, Michelle has now received her first rabies vaccination and has been prescribed antiviral medication as doctors continue to monitor her symptoms. The location of the CDC quarantine facility where these monkeys were headed and the type of research that they were going to be used for has not been released, but this type of monkey is often used in medical studies.
Yeah. This is so weird. Now I'm glad you brought this up because I remember we brought it up. Say, hey, but this was kind of before it was a big thing, and now then it just became vaccines and men who have sex with men got distracted from where it came, but it clearly came from gay guys. That's what everyone said. It didn't come from a truck.
That's what they said. So we have to go. As I went down this rabbit hole, I'm just going to share with y'all what I found. And so fast forward, they said it wasn't lethal, but then we have the first death in Texas, 26.
Patient in Texas, the first reported death of an American with monkeypox. The exact cause of death is unknown, but the patient did have the virus. And tonight there's also growing concern over children getting this.
Stop.
At least 31.
Did you hear what he just said?
What, tonight we have a growing concern over children getting this?
No. What he said about how the guy died.
Oh, it's totally unclear if it was from monkeypox.
Right.
The guy's dead.
It's the COVID thing again.
Yeah. Totally.
He died. So this is the first person to die who had monkeypox. We don't know if it's from monkeypox, but the way they frame that, it's like, oh, here we go again. Here we go again. Didn't we learn anything? Or did we learn something?
Hey, the analog with the HIV/AIDS crisis is uncanny in this, and it's from the same people. It's from the Faucis and Birx is no longer there. It's the same idea. And you know, you only get it from sex with men, and then you might get it from a towel. Kids could get it. It's sickening. It's the same playbook. I'm old enough to remember.
Exactly, and that's the thing is like, I just want sporadically as we go through this or as they occur, let's just point out the commonalities between how they're addressed, how they address COVID, and how now they're addressing monkeypox. We can continue on with the clip.
Yeah, it's exactly the same. I'll start it over.
In Texas, the first reported death of an American with monkeypox. The exact cause of death is unknown, but the patient did have the virus. And tonight there's also growing concern over children getting this. At least 31 cases in children here in this country. And ABC's Maria Villarreal from Texas.
Tonight, the first reported death of an American with monkeypox. Officials say the patient was a severely immunocompromised adult who died at a Houston area hospital.
This patient also had underlying health conditions and had a number of things going on, and I think that additional investigation is needed to know what role monkeypox may or may not have played in their deaths.
The CDC today stressing that death from monkeypox is rare. Of the nearly 50,000 cases around the world, just 15 have been fatal.
Oh, yeah, this is total bullcrap. Total
It's the first death.
Yeah.
We have the first death.
We got one.
And what's up with Texas? Wasn't that with Ebola? The first guy with Ebola, wasn't that in Texas?
Remember that? And so it was live on every single station. The first man with Ebola has been flown in, and then they had the ambulance out there, and it's like, and the dude just pops out and like, hey, I got Ebola, I'm going in now. It was like, what? Where was the hazmat suits? Remember they had the people Like, they had hazmat suits in one part of the operation and then just some rando dude with a clipboard. Okay, you're good to go, Ebola man. Why don't you...
And where's he at now? Why don't we get any follow-up from any of these stories?
Well, where's the
not
trauma?
The monkey lady?
Yeah, there's no
not
trauma.
The Ebola
there's
man.
No trauma in that. If we can't traumatize people, why bother? You taught us that.
Oh, man.
You taught us that.
All right. So let's get into the second part of this clip.
The vast majority of U.S. infections have been in men who have sex with other men, but at least 31 children have also contracted monkeypox, including an infant who was exposed to the virus by a family member and treated at a Seattle hospital.
The main thing that the patient was experiencing was the rash and complications of the rash.
And David, for children, there is no evidence right now that there is transmission within schools so far. Here in Texas, officials are reporting 9 pediatric cases, and the CDC is warning there is preliminary evidence that suggests in children under the age of 8, the illness can be more severe. David?
Yeah, we're going to have to watch this very closely. Maria Villarreal in Texas. Maria, thank you.
I'll be watching very closely. Anything could happen.
So how is it, and this is a huge question that floats around the internet, how is it that it's passed from gay man to gay man, according to the narrative, but then all of a sudden pops up in kids?
And dogs.
Goggles Curry.
Hey, man, I'm
getting there.
I've been on the monkeypox beat for a while, man.
And you're from the future. So, I mean, that doesn't help. But this is and it's becoming you know how those kids got it, right? You know how those kids got it, right?
Of course. How do you think the dogs got it?
And this could this be labeled as misinformation or malinformation or disinformation?
It's so bad. It is so bad. Here, let me see. Monkey kids. That they're not even trying to discuss it. Like, there's some kids. And they just walk right over after they literally said, only men who have sex with men. And there's some kids. What? I mean, they're either leaving it out purposely. It's complete psyop meant to confuse. I think that your point is well made there, because this is definitely of that level.
And to another gloss over in a similar fashion was when you had the abortion case of the 10-year-old little girl getting pregnant.
Yeah, perfect example. Oh yeah,
it was. Huh? Wait. Whoa.
Yeah, if that happened,
how did she get pregnant?
Let's arrest this person.
No, we don't want to talk about that. We want to talk about, we didn't have had to fly her to another state. But I'm just saying, I'll bring that up not to trigger anybody, because that's not what I want to do, is the fact that they pick and choose how they want to cover things. But at the same time, this spell doesn't work on everybody. And all it does is make you ask even more questions. Like, hold on, how did the kids get monkeypox? How did this 10-year-old, become pregnant? And the media is just complicit with covering it up. Which I find very disturbing.
Here.
Just on that level, like, when you get to that point, like, straight out gaslighting.
Let me give you the dog. Let me give you the dog story. It's 30 seconds.
All right.
This is the dog story.
Good morning. It's 6:11. A monkey.
Yeah, this is your breakfast. Hey, it's 6:11.
Good morning. At 6:11, a monkeypox case in France appears to have spread from humans to a dog. According to a case published in the Lancet Medical Journal, 2 men who live in the same household contracted the virus. About 2 weeks later, their dog, a 4-year-old Italian greyhound, started to have symptoms of its own and tested positive for monkeypox. The couple says it co-sleeps with the dog. Now, this is believed to be the first human-to-dog transmission of the monkeypox virus.
Yeah. And then they
co-sleeps.
Then they bring in the doctor, and they said, well, so tell us a little bit more about this.
You mentioned a little bit, Dr. Littman, some of the symptoms we might see in our pets. If you can just go over those with us as to what to look out for, and then what can we as pet owners do?
And she'll talk about this specific dog.
To avoid any sort of transmission.
Yeah, so symptoms, again, it's developing, but they can be very general. So for just like in people, I think general malaise, being feverish, not feeling well, not wanting to eat, to having those pustules or vesicles. Again, this dog had them around his mouth, around his anus, and on his abdomen. And these are signs that, again, can be so easily overlooked as something else.
You got a furry guy or a furry gal.
That too. So, if they're not feeling well in any way and you know that they've had known exposure, then it's really important to tell your vet so everybody can be safe.
And at no point did they ever say, how does that work? I thought it was just men who have sex with men. Is it now just skin contact? No, it's men who have sex with men. And if they just happen to be around dogs and babies. I mean, the whole thing is nuts.
But you remember we have a clip from Nelly Fuller, and I know we probably can't find it, but I'll just surmise what it says. Remember, he's like, I'm in the bear. It said like the bear is where we really got it going on, and they'll normalize it.
Yeah.
And kind of here we are.
Yes.
You don't ask any question right around his mouth and his butt, but we don't have any questions.
No questions. No questions. We got no questions.
Damn Greyhound wasn't fast enough. But let's go.
Yes.
So now we got to go back. 69 Operation Infection, because this is talking about the media disinformation, how they accuse the Russians of weaponizing a story about AIDS trying to kill black people. So I want to revisit these next two clips because they talk about what we're talking about here, the media and how they plant stories and that kind of thing. So let's go ahead and get in first in the 28.
Okay, so to start, let's go back to July 1983 and all the way over here, New Delhi, India. This is when a remarkable story appears in a newspaper called The Patriot. It claims the HIV virus was secretly created by US government scientists as a weapon to kill African Americans and gay people. It even names a facility, Fort Detrick in Maryland, where the virus was supposed to have been concocted. It's a crazy allegation printed in a small newspaper. No big deal, right? But fast forward just a couple of years and look what's happening. The story is spreading all over Africa. A scientific report's even published by two East German biologists who say they can prove AIDS is made in the USA. All these articles are from just a few months at the end of 1986. And then somehow it ends up here.
A Soviet military publication claims the virus that causes AIDS leaked from a U.S. Army laboratory conducting experiments in biological warfare.
That's Dan Rather reading a fake news story to millions of unwitting Americans on national TV. But don't be too hard on Dan. This was one of the greatest cons ever carried out on a global scale. And we're going to show you how it was pulled off.
Where was this from again?
This was the New York Times. It was the Operation Infection, because you remember you were looking at Operation Infection from it was one of our greatest podcast moments in the history of this show, because I didn't know you were walking down that rabbit hole, and we crossed paths on the Operation Infection because that was something new that they were using.
Yeah.
And I looked at it from the historic standpoint.
From the 80s and 90s, you mean?
Yeah, from the 86 report from Dan Rather.
Yes.
And how, like I said, it seems very plausible now. I mean, when you look back on history, and it's kind of like what we do, why we do the show, because it sounds crazy at the time, like, it came out of a lab in America. But like now you look at like, that's very believable. And then you look forward with the monkeys. Like,
right. Well, not just, but look at COVID with gain of function. The research, which was being done in the United States and then was illegally outsourced and shipped off to China. So it doesn't mean that they didn't screw it up accidentally or purposely. But yeah, I mean, we discovered, although it only was for a brief moment in the news cycle, that the Department of Defense of the United States has been operating multiple biolabs in Ukraine. Does it get any crazier than that? So you tell me. It's really disappointing, It's like, so we're actually could also be the a-holes? Yeah, for sure. But it's okay. It's fun. It's fun to blame Russia, and they got their own tricks. They're not bad. They know what they're doing.
Right. I mean, we're going to get to possibly some of their tricks. But let's go ahead and get into the second part of the Operation Infection throwback clip.
The KGB let the story go quiet for a couple of years after India, but with AIDS still making scary headlines in 85, they revived it, this time in a prominent Moscow newspaper. And the source for this story? You guessed it. It's brilliant, really. They've repeated the story, but concealed their hand, distancing themselves from the lie they started. So we're now into 1986, and the KGB want to add gravitas to this lie. So they look around for a scientist, a human face, someone who could back up the lie with data. And, no joke, this is the dude they found. This is Dr. Jacob Segal. Remember I said the report had 2 authors? Well, here comes the co-author now. It's his wife, Lily. Believe it or not, these two wrote that report that claimed to have evidence AIDS was created in a US government lab.
This scientific gobbledygook. And, you read this stuff and who can understand it? But it purports to be proof.
The thing is, it worked. The KGB made sure the Segal report was read by journalists all over Africa, and they kept on pushing it until it went, well, viral. It appeared in 200 reports in 80 countries. Even the Daily Express in London runs with it. And finally, on March 30th, 1987, the KGB hits the jackpot.
A Soviet military publication claims the virus that causes AIDS leaked.
Yeah, good times. Yeah, you heard about that everywhere, and especially that time. I was just going from the Netherlands to New York, and it was a exciting time in my life. But I remember there were books, there was all kinds of stuff coming out.
Right, and then you add a little magic in there, and there you have it. You have a whole worldwide pandemic.
Yeah.
So this 2 throwback clips is going to lead us in 2 different directions. One, which I'll cover second, is the media planning stories for use later on. And that's kind of how they said that you always mention this about the CIA or put something in a foreign newspaper,
mm-hmm.
and then they'll reference back to that.
Yep.
So we're going to cover that second, but the first part is how AIDS was disproportionately and even targeting Black and gay people. Well, fast forward, monkeypox is now disproportionately affecting Black men.
A new report shows the monkeypox outbreak is disproportionately affecting Black men here in Georgia. And right now, the FDA is working on a new strategy to stretch the vaccine supply as we see cases jump by the hundreds week to week.
Week to week, 11 Alive Joe Ripley is here to explain why this new guidance is especially critical for communities of color. Joe?
Today, we confirmed 2 employees within the Fulton County government have tested positive for monkeypox. They are currently in isolation. The virus spreads through close person-to-person contact as well as respiratory fluids. Today, we dug into the disparities of the disease when it comes to people of color. Georgia currently has the 4th highest number of monkeypox cases in the country. State health officials say more than 80% of cases here are in Black men. And yet, the vaccination numbers show almost an even distribution of vaccines to Black and white Georgians.
Historically and today, we consistently see that these are communities that receive less health care, less access, and have less trust of the healthcare system.
Dr. Jody Guest, Vice Chair of Epidemiology at Emory University's Rollins School of Public Health, says there's a sense of urgency to use what little vaccine supply the state has on hand to respond to the current outbreak.
I don't think we are yet at a spot where we would say we have a handle on this. We need to consistently get the messaging out about prevention, who's most at risk, and we need more vaccines to give them to communities that are at highest risk.
Well, I demand an update to the news story. It should be black men who have sex with men.
Or men that have sex with Black men. I mean, like,
as long as the Black men involved. No, hold on, because she said, if I understood the story, magically, even though vaccination rates for Black and white men in those communities are equally the same, we have more Black men with, if I understood the story right.
Well, it's a little different than how she said it, that Black men are being affected by it, but the vaccine distribution is equal.
Right.
So you're getting more affected people getting actually less vaccines than they need.
I have warned against this so many times in the past months.
What's that?
So pay attention to what's going on. They have a magic solution. Monkeypox is like it's just a name It's pox. It could be smallpox. There's all these variations. The vaccine has not even, they don't even know if it works, and they admit it. Oh, let's go get another vaccine.
Well, it's even worse than that, because as you heard them say, the supply is low.
Yes.
So they came up with this great idea to, make the most of the supply they have, and you'll hear that in 31.
The fight against the monkeypox virus. The U.S. Health Department officially today declared a national public health emergency for monkeypox, George.
Sure did. The new state of emergency allows for a stronger federal response. Monkeypox has infected more than 500 Georgians and over 6,600 Americans. Today's declaration means more money and resources are coming from the federal government. This is thousands of people in the U.S. deal with fevers, body aches.
What was that from the U.S. government? What was that all about? That was an interesting little I don't know why he did that. It's coming from the U.S. government. Oh, Uncle Sam to the rescue. I don't know what he was saying.
It means more money and resources are coming from the federal government.
Woo! That's right. $30 billion.
Cha-ching.
$30 billion. What?
I said cha-ching.
Yeah, big cha-ching. And it's like folded up with $13 billion more to Ukraine. And we need 47. It's for COVID and monkeypox and big pharma.
And they're going to get paid to run ads. In public service announcements.
I'm telling you, we can clean up if we do the if we were shitheels. We could go together. It'd be perfect. Ebony and Ivory. Look, man, clearly we have the in to the black community, right? So if you want people to learn about the monkeypox vaccine, you hire Moe Factz with Adam Curry, and we'll make sure your message gets out to the right people. It would be perfect. I'll take 30%.
And now you hear why he was like, now you hear he was saying, ooh, more money.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, you're right. Probably because, I can probably do some more gigs and promote it.
This is thousands of people in the U.S. deal with fevers, body aches, lesions, and fatigue.
And now we're hearing from the first woman to contract monkeypox in Georgia. Channel 2's Audrey Washington live at the CDC in DeKalb County. Audrey, the woman believes she somehow contracted the virus at work.
Right, she's a cashier, so she believes she contracted the virus by touching money and then touching her face. She told me she's coming forward with her story because she wants to educate more people about the monkeypox virus. Just a warning, some of the images you are about to see are graphic.
I'm in the healing stages. As you can see, my face is starting to scab up.
It's been about a month and Camille Seaton is still recovering.
I waited on the results and it was positive. I had monkeypox.
These are pictures of the lesions that started to form on Camille's face. Thursday, the Biden administration declared monkeypox a public health emergency. According to the CDC, there are more than 500 monkeypox cases in Georgia. Infectious disease doctors say those currently impacted the most by the virus are gay or bisexual men. But doctors also say that anyone can contract the virus through close contact. Camille is a cashier and believes she likely caught monkeypox at work.
Yeah, so I heard enough of these stories now of an exception, a woman, a child, a dog. And of course, like everyone else, I'm the 15-year-old like, oh, dude, what were you doing with the dog?
Right.
However, I think there's a very distinct possibility, knowing that when they say men who have sex with men, they're and I've done the research in this, they're talking specifically about men who go to big orgy parties and have, weekends like Fire Island and they're messing about multiple sex partners. They're already vaxxed and boosted to the gills. They may have weakened immune system because of that. I'm still not 100% convinced this monkeypox isn't a virus at all, but could just be an expression of something that's coming out because your immune system has been altered. And it would be perfect, just like HIV, which I have very set opinions about, that HIV, it hit double hard with the 70s and 80s partying gay group because they were doing poppers and coke and probably still are, multiple sex partners. It wears you down. I've spoken to many doctors who said, HIV, if I can give you super vitamin C for 2 weeks, you'll be fine. But, instead they gave them rejected cancer drugs and killed people.
Right.
So this, to me, I am not so sure that this is an actual virus. This could just be something that you may show if you've, under the right circumstances of being, of your immune system being tampered with.
That's one school of thought. So I'm going to bring up a couple items. One, we have to always keep in mind something we talked about in the show, the down low brother. Or the quote unquote down low brother, the one that's a gay man that goes back and sleep with women. Either, and the reason I call them down low is it's secretly, they're secretly gay. So could that be a way that they introduce this into the heterosexual population? Because this is how AIDS made the jump.
Yeah, again,
it's just assuming that it is a virus and it's not a response to.
I can't.
This is why I brought that up. Yeah,
no, I know. I can't, in any good conscience, even consider that any of what we were told about AIDS was true, or monkeypox, or COVID, or any of it. And so when you get into it's making the jump, then you're already presuming all these things. Like, is it a sexually transmitted disease or not? No one's even answered that question.
They won't. Right. They always skirt it and like, you can get it through close contact, but they never say sexual intercourse.
If anything, we really don't know. I mean, we really don't have the information. And as we know, the science can change within 2 years if it's advantageous and your vaccines don't work. I'm not so sure. These are just stories. How did this poor woman, did she have a down low brother? I don't know, man. And by the way, I think
she said she got it from money.
That's what she says.
We saw that from COVID. We saw that with COVID too. Remember that was COVID spreading on money.
But so I would wager we'd have a lot more white women getting monkeypox if that were true. I think there's a lot more down low white brothers than there are down low black brothers.
Right.
So
I'm just saying, what I'm just saying is, we have to look at all of this, his history. It's in Atlanta, high gay population.
Totally.
That's kind of how AIDS made the jump over from being a gay disease into being a majority now, predominantly a black woman disease. I mean, when you look at the AZT commercials, it's either a black woman or a black trans
not
woman.
AZT, PrEP.
I mean, not PrEP, it's PrEP.
AZT
so when
is
you
what
look
killed
at those,
everybody.
Right. So I'm just saying, so when you look at that, it's like, okay, I'm just showing what I found along my rabbit hole.
Hard to say. And because you can't go by commercials anymore. I mean, they're advertising with stuff with black people for everything. You see it.
I'm talking about the historical ones.
The historical ones?
PrEP. Yeah.
Okay.
It was always still a combination. It was like a white man, gay man.
Right.
And then it'll be a black woman.
Always together. Together was the best.
Right. Those two, yeah. And then there's to be a black woman, and then it'll be either a gay black man and then a trans black woman. That was kind of the makeup. And you could opt out one of the white guys with a brown guy. That was kind of the formula. And I'm not being flippant, but that was the actual true formula of these commercials.
I had this thought the other day, maybe it was yesterday or the day before. Because I think, look, obviously we've been through the eugenics. We see genocidal tendencies, eugenicists. We know where it comes from. America, foam finger number one. Oops, that Hitler guy's taking it too far. Tone it back. But it's still kind of there. I think it's possible that none of these people are truly evil. They don't want to be personally responsible for killing people. But kind of the idea that there's all these different things put together, wear down your immune system, you become weak, the gene pool becomes weaker, sperm becomes less potent, and just slowly we're kind of melting away. And they have all these different little things, and they put names on them. But it's really just, they've debased our money, they've debased our food, they've debased our what healthcare actually is, quality of life, education. So we shouldn't be surprised that this is just another part of it, and I think we're just being led around by the nose for most of these things. Like virus, put a mask on, do this. If monkeypox, monkeypox, you can't really get it. You really has to be sexual contact. Come on.
And to be honest with you, I am probably, and you included, we're probably the least two likely people to catch monkeypox out of the whole population because we're married, we're monogamous men,
and we didn't take the shot. If that's a part of it,
and you include that as well. But I feel it my responsibility to present what I found.
Sure,
and I was 90% where you're at, but I found something to make me start to question what the hell is going on here. So first, I set the last clip up wrong because I said that was going to explain about the vaccine. That was actually the women catching it now via money.
Right.
It couldn't be they couldn't use the download brother, you know what I'm saying, excuse yet. But now it's money, and it's like, okay, I don't know how that works. But and the other question is, should strippers be worried then? Atlanta's like the strip club capital.
That's right. Cheat us.
If monkeypox can flow on dollar bills.
Well, they did that. Remember, that's why we don't have any cash in most of the world now after COVID. China showed all these pictures. Oh, we're disinfecting the money. It's dirty money. And all over Europe, people went 100% digital, no cash. Yeah.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's a lot of narratives being weaved in this.
All the elements.
So, this is CBS News. Dr. Isaac Bogoch, Bogoch, Bogoch. Let's see. He's going to explain now about the vaccine and the new sophisticated system they're using to make the most of our vaccines that we do have.
Dr. Isaac Bogoch back with us to give us a primer in this, an infectious diseases specialist from Toronto. Good to see you, Dr. Bogoch. Welcome back.
Thank you. Great to see you as well, Heather.
Let's help us understand this, Dr. Bogoch. Number one, what is monkeypox?
And monkeypox it's a viral infection, and it's endemic to parts of West Africa and Central Africa. When it is not infecting humans, it lives in rodents, and this is what we call a zoonotic infection, where it can jump from non-human animals into humans. And as you point out, there have been outbreaks in West and Central Africa. And once in a while, a case has been able to get someone gets on a plane, fly somewhere distant, and there have been cases detected over the last few years, periodically in Europe or in the Americas or elsewhere around the world in Asia. And occasionally those result in onward transmission to a few other people. But what we're seeing now is a much larger outbreak than what normally happens when a case gets exported from Central or West Africa.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Once again, I did a poor setup. This is when I start to ask, is this gain of function? Because, or is it, I can see from where you stand. And like I said, I was on board with you. 90% of, maybe it's a response to people that were vaccinated, compromised immune system. You have this flare up, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But he said that one, what troubles me is rodents. Mm-hmm. It travels through rodents.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to keep that in mind where I'm going with this. But then two, you got the rats, and then you have it didn't spread that easy. Now all of a sudden it's exploding, and even hear the cases is like 50 to 500 to 5,000. It's like, whoa, it shouldn't spread this way. Is this gain of function? If it's not
whatever.
The way you see it.
Yeah, or whatever. What is it? Just what is it?
Right. And why is it spreading uncommonly like it typically would? These are questions that we need to ask. So, where do we stop at?
33 is next.
Okay, let's go. Let's see. Make sure I set up 33. No. We don't. Hold on.
Did I miss one?
Well, you already covered that. You already covered that 33.
Oh, okay.
With the dog.
Right.
Because the rodents, dogs,
okay.
You beat me to the punch on that one. So he goes on to explain how monkeypox is not the same as COVID.
Some people say it's similar. You might hear words that it's similar to chickenpox. It is and it isn't. With chickenpox, when you see the skin lesions, those classic skin lesions emerge, they're of different ages. So some are erupting at the same time that others are receding and scabbing over. With monkeypox, it's similar to an infection that has been eradicated from planet Earth. It's similar to smallpox in that the lesions typically are all the same age. They'll usually erupt mostly at the same time, and they'll roughly be at the same level of development. And fortunately, the vast majority of people will recover from this and will do just fine. But, there obviously can be people on the sicker end of the spectrum. Luckily, that's the minority of cases. And so far to date, we haven't heard of any people impacted by this that have had a more severe illness. But of course, we know it can happen.
It makes me ask, so it's gone from, it seems, from animals to human. What we know about the cases in Montreal is these were cases reported by sexual transmitted infection clinics, awaiting final confirmation. But they were the clinics that flagged this, and it seems to be, and in cases in Europe as well, gay men, bisexual men, men who have sex with men. As far as transmission, what do we understand about how it's transmitted, and could there be a sexual transmission component to this?
It's interesting. He brings up chicken pox, which is another pox, because one of the side effects of the heart dart is shingles, which is another form of chicken pox.
Correct.
So this could be all kinds of stuff. But okay, well, now we're going to learn about, is it a sexually transmitted disease? This is my question.
And before we get there, I have the question. I have the observation, and this is just my personal view on it. If I didn't know what was going on or have a clue of what was going on, I'm about to say smallpox. Monkeypox wouldn't have to kill me to make me scared of it. Just catching it.
Sure.
You see what I'm saying? Like it's like a non-lethal, but it's just as effective. Because nobody wants that. I mean, COVID, you could be like, I'll catch COVID and I'll beat it, in a couple weeks and, drink some orange juice and I'll be right. Monkeypox, that's a little different story. When you talk about I'm covered with large pus-filled pox.
Oh yeah, and it takes 3 to 4 weeks before they're all gone. It's nasty. I've done some research. It's not pretty.
So you see what I'm saying? It's not non-lethal, but it's just as scary.
I think the whole all of these things are intended to be just such. This is a perfect one. And I think it's kind of being downplayed, maybe purposely a little bit, but it has to work at a psychological level on almost everybody. Yeah, I'm not going to get it,
me
but,
included. And I'm probably one of the more rational people that you want to meet. I mean, I believe so. But it's still in the back of my mind. I don't use public toilets anymore. I mean, I actually changed the way no. I can't take that risk. And I'm just being honest with people. So it's working.
Of course.
And you get a good little outbreak going. We go back in your house.
This is an ongoing agenda. Did we miss the polio? Polio coming back. We had that in New York City. That's kind of gone a little bit now because, Orange Man bad raid. Polio. We had tomato, tomato flu in parts of the world. Yeah, tomato
I haven't
flu.
heard that one.
Yeah, tomato flu. It's a real thing. You don't know about tomato flu?
No, you got me on that one.
Here, I have...
Even as the spread of deadly COVID-19 virus still prevails across India, the threat of another virus is now threatening the masses. According to the latest report, India has reported 82 cases of tomato flu.
You see, I'm not messing around. Tomato flu. So
but that monkeypox hit different though.
I'm just saying
that monkeypox. I'm just being honest with you, bruh.
I mean, it's all psychological. I mean, we could throw a million things. Oh, where's HPV? We need to be bringing that back. Oh, you get cervical cancer, throat cancer. Remember Michael Douglas? Yeah, I got it for my wife. You know what I was doing. I have distrust in all of it. I don't want any of it. I hear you. But I'm very distrusting of what is real, what is really going on here. Where is it coming from? Is it really a virus? What's happening?
I have the same questions that you do, but I just had to be honest. In the back of my mind,
yeah, well, it's working.
It's you wash your hands a little more. You know, like I said, I don't use public bathrooms anymore. I mean, you changed just me personally, make sure, you know what I'm saying, I'm going to be able to make it home, you know what I'm saying, leave home and make it back home before I have to use the bathroom, you know, because, and it reminds me of AIDS, you know what I'm saying, in that same way. Like, don't use public bathrooms, you know what I'm saying, that kind of thing with AIDS.
There you go. Because it's working.
Being in this vain society that we lived in, this is worse than COVID.
Oh, because you see, you got sores on your face. Yeah, that's bad.
For months. And you know what I'm saying? You can't hide this for a couple days and be like, no.
Obama.
Like that. I'm just got to be honest with you guys. Like the monkeypox got me shooketh.
Really? I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that. I don't think you have to worry.
Oh, okay. Let's see if you say that by the end of the show.
Okay. Okay.
Not to scare you, not to traumatize you in any way, but
I'm ready.
If you knew what I knew. Number 35. He's going to follow. Yeah, go ahead. 35.
As far as transmission, what do we understand about how it's transmitted, and could there be a sexual transmission component to this?
Right. So this is very interesting as well. So we know, first of all, let's acknowledge that there's not a ton known about this. This is what we call a neglected tropical infection or a neglected tropical disease, in the sense that it's, along with many other infections that plague low-income countries, there's just not a ton of research on this. But there is some, and we do know something about this. Based on some of the outbreaks in the past and some of the studies, we know that people can get this by direct contact with some of the lesions, or direct contact with bodily fluids from infected people, from close contact with individuals, so being in close proximity for a prolonged period of time. And of course, there still are more distant more distant infections. Those don't seem to be the majority, but that certainly can happen. When we talk about people getting this infection through sexual contact, what's really unknown is, was that just because of close and direct contact with a lesion, or was it actually sexually transmitted? Before we completely discard the sexual transmission, I think it's fair to acknowledge that, Ebola virus recently was found to be transmitted through semen. Zika virus as well was found to be transmitted through sexual means as well. So I think it's fair to keep an open mind on that mode of transmission, but it's based on what we know. Close proximity is the main mode of transmission.
Now, that's kind of weird, because he's like, we just found out that if you have sex, you can transmit it. Seems like that would be the case if you can get it from touching.
Well, and that's why I wonder what their definition of sexually transmitted. There's like the bodily, actual sexual fluid carry it.
Yeah, maybe.
You know what I'm saying? Like that kind of thing, instead of just, I hate to be graphic, but like the pustule erupting and it contacts your skin and then you catch it. Because that was kind of thing, like, because when my grandma, like, don't put it in your mouth, you get AIDS in the mouth. You know what I'm saying? Like that was.
Who said that?
I remember her.
Your grandmother?
My grandma. I remember, like, we were little. Like, I had a habit of chewing pins.
But hold on. What was she telling you not to put in your mouth?
Pins. I had a notorious habit. Hey, easy.
Hey.
I had a notorious habit of chewing like pin tops, and I remember it's like I was little, like 5, 6 years old. So I had to be 85, 86. She was like, "Oh, you're gonna get AIDS in the mouth," and then, like that was like the. I remember. So
thanks, Grandma.
Yeah, so that brought me in my habit of chewing.
I used to chew pen caps, and my mom would say, "Don't do that, because if you inhale it, you'll die."
I got that one as well.
Because it gets stuck in your throat, and then you won't be able to breathe. Yeah.
So I got that one.
I never got the AIDS one. I mean, I got gypped. I should have been threatened with AIDS. That's cool.
So he brings up this.
Grandma.
Grandma. No, she's like, baby, get that out your mouth. You gonna get AIDS in the mouth. And it's like, okay, Grandma, AIDS.
No wonder you're traumatized, Mo. Come on, I get it. That's bad, man.
The reason why I'm traumatized is the bumps, man. Like that's. Like I said, it's mentally you can make the jump and say, you know what, COVID, I'll be down for a couple of days. I'll drink some orange juice, maybe take some horse paste. I'll be back up, But being covered in huge pustule, oh no, like.
No, your life's over. You can't go out until that's done.
And then how you explain to people, like, where you been for the last couple months? And then you still got
a spa.
And then you still have the healing. They still have to heal. And like, even if they heal, do they leave more? I don't know. But this, like I said, this.
Well, can I ask you
This is a good one. I got to give it to the powers that be. This is a good one.
Let me ask you, because this is now. I haven't actually thought about it this way. I have zero fear of this. Zero. But is part of your fear because the obvious symptoms would probably point to you being a down low brother? Would that be
part of it? Mm-hmm. That could be part of more of mine is vanity.
Vanity, yeah.
And that's why I think it's very effective on this vain
society.
Social media picture.
This is coming from the guy whose face I haven't even seen. But okay.
Right, it's not the vanity like I'll be ugly. It's the stigma that comes with it. Have you seen these people? Yeah. I mean, it's a plague. I mean, it's like a biblical plague kind of level.
It's not pretty. No, it's not. I mean, I saw a video of a flight attendant, and he was, I don't know where he was, but he was not home, and he had to stay in a hotel room for 3 weeks. One, because apparently contagious, and I think two is like he just didn't want to go out looking like that.
That's my point. Yeah. Because, like, you remember how we were talking about with
it's a
COVID?
Lockdown. It's a lockdown. It's a self-imposed lockdown. There you go.
Yes. And you'll be more willing to lock down if it becomes 1/10, 100th of what COVID was. It's like, I'm staying in. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, I need work from home. I need DoorDash.
Okay, so interesting you bring this up because I was going down this path, and after the dump truck and then the pox, I'm like, are you kidding me? This is their next thing. Mm-hmm. And they haven't used it effectively because this all leads towards climate change is where it has to wind up. That's where the money is. There's, the pharma guys that had their fun with COVID vaccines. It's being used, but I'm not sure it's going to go to the full extent because climate change is a lot more fun. It's a hot day, and you tell everyone you start turning people's thermostats off. I mean, come on. So
true.
And now what is happening is because of climate change, that's why we have more viruses like monkeypox. You're going to see a lot of that, I think. That's one way it's going to be used. But I don't think, it doesn't feel like another COVID-style terror streak. It has to be climate change. That's what they're doing. That's what they shut down Russian gas and oil for. That's why Europe is now in I'm laughing, but my daughter's there. And she was paying €200 a month for gas and electric. Now they want $800. She doesn't have that kind of money.
Who does?
Right.
I mean, like, who does have a 400% increase in your energy? I mean, that's just that's crazy.
So that's where they're going. And it's, yes, the the tipping point is Putin, but it's, we got to get to batteries and solar panels and we can't do it to kill the world. So
when if I told you that an opportunity for a twofer? Would that interest you? Can I pique your interest on a twofer?
If you got a twofer, best price, I'm interested.
All right. So, okay. Let's see.
Here we go.
The last doctor was saying that you could catch it through respiratory terms. Had you heard that before?
I think mine have briefly, but then for a moment there, people were talking about masks, I think, but that went away. As far as I know, that went away.
Okay, that sets it up perfectly for the next one, confusion over the monkeypox mask guidance.
The spike in cases comes amid some confusion over CDC mask guidance. The agency appearing to post guidance on its website saying international travelers should wear a mask to protect against monkeypox. That guidance no longer on the CDC's website. Instead, the agency urging travelers to avoid close contact with sick people, contact with dead or live wild animals, such as small mammals, avoid eating meat that comes from wild game, or using products that come from wild animals from Africa, such as creams, powders, and lotions, and avoid contact with contaminated material.
We know that you can get it from skin-to-skin contact, particularly if there's an open sore, but you can also get it from the respiratory route.
Now, as we mentioned, monkeypox can spread through respiratory systems, but it's different from COVID-19. Monkeypox spreads through large droplets, which don't travel more than a few feet, so it requires prolonged face-to-face contact. Still, as always, officials are urging caution for people traveling, especially internationally.
Finally, something that the mask can't stop, and they say no mask. I mean, literally, the large drops is the whole purpose for the mask. And they're like, no mask.
Yeah.
This sounds smell like a setup to me, bro. I'm
with you. No, I'm with you. I'm with you all the way on this. I just don't know if it's still if they're gonna unfold it and more's coming, or if it was just just one that didn't quite work the way they wanted to. Again, I'm waiting for the twofer, because if you could move monkeypox into climate change, you're golden.
Well, it's not climate change, but it's some other foe that we have. But let's continue on. But I'm just saying that's just weird. Wear the mask. That would work against large droplets, people spitting on you, that kind of thing.
No, of course.
It'd be completely justified to say, yeah, use mask. But they did the complete inverse of what you thought they should do. It's like, no, take the mask down. It's kind of like the Fauci thing. Oh, you don't need a mask. All over again.
Or they want to make sure that the right people are wearing the mask.
True. That's another thing. Or if you know it could spread through droplets, then, let's not use masks so we can get this thing going. I mean, it's taking a little longer than we expect to get. We need cases.
They could have at least pointed out that, yes, a mask will stop someone spitting in your face. They could have pointed that out. Yeah, I agree.
But they take it off the table.
Yeah.
Why? Why, when it actually works?
Ultimately,
with the transmission mode.
Ultimately, the final answer, which will always be the same answer, they want to kill us. They want less of us. Ultimately,
you have no gripes out of me on that.
Ultimately, that's the answer. That's the final answer.
Okay, finally, I misfired on this twice already. But now we get to the high-tech rollout of the vaccine from the Joe Biden administration that's going to stop the monkeypox spread.
Back here at home tonight, the White House is rolling out its new monkeypox vaccine strategy. This weekend, focusing on LGBTQ plus events, trying to get shots into arms. And health experts are now raising concerns about the potential spread of the virus on college campuses this fall. Here's ABC's Phil Lipoff.
I need to ask you, when are these clips from the past week and a half, 2 weeks? What are they, more or less?
I would say no longer than a month. Other than the truck crash.
Yeah, because there was a bit of flurry of activity maybe 2 weeks ago. A lot of monkeypox clips. I haven't heard this one though, so I like it. Let me listen to it.
Okay.
The White House today rolling out a more aggressive effort to quash the monkeypox outbreak, targeting large LGBTQ events across the country. Vaccinations today offered at the Pride Festival in Charlotte, North Carolina. The CDC finding that 93% of cases are still among men who reported recent sexual contact with other men. Just over 14,000 Americans have been infected with monkeypox, but there are early signs that new cases are plateauing. 1 million vaccine doses have been delivered nationwide, and starting Monday, 1.8 million more doses will be made available where medical professionals are trained in a new method of injection right under the top layer of skin instead of into fatty tissue, a technique that only requires a fifth of the dose, increasing the supply.
Jurisdictions are very enthusiastically starting this. I think it's exciting from the perspective of access. Thank you.
The vaccine manufacturer Bavarian Nordic is raising some concerns tonight about this newer type of injection, citing lack of data, sending a letter to the FDA saying this newer method could increase reaction. The FDA says the reaction should be manageable and that both types of injections should create the same level of protection against the virus.
Have you heard this?
No. Now,
it's a lot in that clip. That clip was so packed full of information.
What is this about?
Where you want to start? You pick it.
New vaccine. New kind of vaccine.
No, it's new kind of vaccine. It's the new delivery method. What they say is we could take one dose, make it 5 doses, and just shoot it right up under the skin and not into the fatty tissue.
Oh, yeah. This was to spread it out. That's right. Which seems like a complete violation of the whole idea of shooting it into the muscle and not under the skin into whatever.
But how do you make one dose into 5 doses? And they did this with COVID. Oh, we realized we can get 3 doses out of the vial instead of 2.
Yeah.
Now
You're
it's
right.
5
You're
out
right.
of 1.
You're right.
And do you charge us a full dose? And when I say us, the taxpayer, that's who probably paying for it. Are you charging us now for 5 doses instead of 1?
Oh, good point. It could be a side hustle. Yeah, remember when the COVID vaccine has to be shipped to minus 3,000 degrees, very special refrigerators. And then after a couple of months, like guys carrying around the Yeti cooler, oh, here's my vaccine. You know, it's like, come on.
I heard, what's Dr. McCullough?
Peter.
And you took me here, so I heard Dr. McCullough on InfoWars.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
and
recently,
he was saying the fact. Yeah, did you hear that?
No. I saw he was on. I haven't watched it.
Oh, I don't, not to spoil it. You know what I'm saying, but I had to tell you what he said. The fact that they let it expire, not using, you know what I'm saying, keeping it super cold like they originally said, may have saved lives because
that's fantastic.
It expiring, you know what I'm saying, actually made it, weaker. Or, you know what I'm saying, not even have an effect at all. So,
man, what did
I always had that same question.
You got to spoil it for me. What did McCullough say? They said we're all going to die from this thing. What was his bottom line?
No, he was just saying that, bioweapon.
Yeah.
This is by design. It's not an accident.
Right.
But I just took away from it like, okay, maybe they knew that if they gave it to you fresh, farm fresh, you know what I'm saying, from the freezer.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It was inspiring people too fast.
Right.
So it was like, you know what? Let's give them a weakened and a less dose because we're on this vaccine train now. So we have to keep it going. But how can we protect people from the product? And the other thing is weird in this last clip was the company's not on board. The company's contacting the FDA. Is like, whoa.
Yeah.
We don't have any history of doing this new technique and shooting it right up under the skin
no
and
idea.
stepping on it.
Yeah, I know. And it's some like Scandinavian company.
These are drug dealers. This is what drug dealers do. They take a key of cocaine and cut it, you know what I'm saying, and make the most out of, stretch as far as they can.
I'm with you. Of course they're drug dealers, literal drug dealers, legal drug dealers. I just don't understand why people jump on this. I mean, I saw the lines. Oh, I'm standing in line for my monkeypox vaccine. I know young women who hang out with gay guys, all getting, I hang out with these gay guys, so I got to get a monkeypox vaccine.
Because of the vanity plays a huge, I don't think it's death. I don't think the approach is death. I think we desensitized to death, really.
Yeah.
We talked about that after the Spanish flu.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, like after they came out of it, the kids was like, "Man, if I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die." I don't think death is a good motivator now.
Now
because I think people are callous.
Now you just look like shit on Zoom. Yeah, I got you.
That's enough. That's way more effective.
Whoa, I can't
and you can catch it twice.
Yeah.
You were saying like whenever they can make you catch it twice. So now it's like, I got to stay up with my monkeypox shots.
Right. Stay up to date. Got to be up to date. Up to date.
I said this word more than I wanted to, but I think vanity plays a huge role in this being effective. And you hear the number of cases. I think they said 18,000 now. It's like, how is this spreading so fast? And I'm not discounting it because I'm still as an open option that may be due to compromised immune systems due to the original shot. Mm-hmm. But I had to introduce this piece of information. And now we got to revisit. Let's go back and remember what we talked about on the Operation Infections of planning news stories to be used later, right?
Yeah.
This is where we're going. This is what you get your twofer for right here.
Okay, I'm ready.
Number 38. I'm going to read the whole title. Did Russia consider using monkeypox as a bioweapon after the collapse of the Soviet Union?
Now comes a new report which claims that Russia had looked at the possibility of using monkeypox as a biological weapon in the early 1990s. This was right at the end of the Cold War when the Soviet Union had just collapsed. On Crux Decode, how real
is this report? How real is this possibility that the Soviet Union was using monkeypox as a biological weapon? Dr. Ali Beck says, and I quote, "So we developed a special program to determine what model viruses could be used instead of smallpox. We tested vaccinia virus, mousepox virus, rabbitpox, and monkeypox virus as models for smallpox. The idea was that all research and development work would be conducted using these model viruses. Once we obtained a set of positive results, it would take just 2 weeks to conduct the same manipulation with smallpox virus and to stockpile the warfare agent. We would have in our arsenal a genetically altered smallpox virus that could replace the previous one," unquote. Now, the Russian Ministry of Defense decided to continue working with the monkeypox to create what he calls future biological weapons after the collapse of the USSR. He was previously brought before a United States congressional hearing where Dr. Ali Beck said that he is convinced that Russia's biological weapons program had never been completely dismantled.
How hard was it for you not to talk about that for the past 2 hours, 2.5 hours? How hard was that specifically?
It's a struggle.
So here's where my mind went. I'll just tell you where my mind went right away.
Yes, please. That's exactly what I want to hear.
So my mind went, that shit kicked off in Ukraine. We got all those biolabs, our biolabs. There's people in and out. And then a couple months later, there's monkeypox. Now, with this information, I'm starting to put some dots together on that.
And that's why this show, it's unmatched. And that's not from a vague. No, I'm just saying because we're on the same rabbit holes, but for such different angles.
Yeah.
That when we come and sit down and talk about it, it's like you fill in some gaps that I had, I fill in some gaps that you had, and then we come out with a closer picture to the truth. It's the exercise of paying attention to everything.
Here's another thing. When did Victoria Nuland admitted to the Department of Defense biolabs in Ukraine in March. And I think the first monkeypox in the U.S. was May. So we've got Ukraine war, end of January, February, March. Yeah, we got some biolabs, May, monkeypox. And now in September, I hear that the Russians kind of dig this so maybe there was still some monkeypox in there, but those biolabs in Ukraine, who knows?
That's what Dr. Ken Alibek is saying. And this guy is a huge douchebag because he's one of those people that was the weapons of mass destruction, weapons during the whole Middle East thing.
Anthrax.
So he's been, So he's been brought before the, it says he's testified several times before U.S. Congress and other governments on biotechnology use. In the lead up to the war between U.S. and Iraq, he testified before Congress without direct knowledge or evidence that attempts to wipe out Iraqi's bioweapons capability were probably not successful. So he'll say anything.
Right.
But I'm just saying, go back to the operation.
That only makes it more likely if this is one of those guys who'll say anything.
Right. So they buried the story if we look at it through the same lens as the Operation Infection. You have this report that this guy is referencing of Russia, always been open to using monkeypox. You know what I'm saying? It's their choice. It's their choice bioweapon now.
Yeah.
And now this is your twofer. And we already got a beef with Russia.
Man, that's pretty good, Mo. That's pretty good. I like it. It's a lot of different ways I can go with it, but I like it a lot. Yeah.
Okay, now we got to go to how do you get it to the masses? This is where it really scares me. And you've heard these clips before. This is a self-made supercut of 3 reports I've heard about monkeypox in the wastewater.
We'll talk to you in a little bit. With monkeypox cases on the rise in Georgia and COVID numbers back up, Fulton County is taking a proactive approach to tracking cases by testing wastewater. CBS 46's Madeline Montgomery is live from Fulton County's Camp Creek wastewater facility with how that process works and how it'll inform decisions made by county leaders.
Just like with COVID, health officials across the Bay Area are using wastewater to determine the true number of monkeypox cases.
KPIX5 reporter Max Darrow takes a look at the importance of this kind of preemptive surveillance.
Similar to the COVID sewage surveillance that began a year ago,
it's pretty exciting to see the demonstration of pivoting wastewater monitoring for these other viral threats in a way that's really timely and useful for our communities right now.
The same sample and process being used to detect COVID in wastewater is being used to detect monkeypox.
But monkeypox is a new emerging viral threat in our communities, and it's also shed in bodily fluids. So it ends up in the wastewater.
Okay. So here's a pro tip. Don't drink from your toilet. Don't drink from the toilet. It's a bad idea. But this, and I saw this happening with COVID. It's not a new technique. You can narrow down to a block or an apartment, maybe a floor. But this will be used for self-imposed lockdowns of many sorts. Oh, there's polio on your floor. Lock down. And you'd be like, shit, there's polio here. Let's lock down.
And before the Russian clip, I found that I was like, this is complete BS. You know, finding small pot. How, Sway? I mean, like, seriously, how do you find where, I mean, like, it just doesn't make sense to me. But it leads to the point of, is there actual monkeypox in the water supply? I'm not poo-pooing the fact that it's in there. I'm just saying, but how can they tell where, like you said, from where it's from?
Well, now
and that's why I thought was bogus from my perspective. Like,
it's wastewater, so not the water supply, but of course, you know, I mean, you know what else is in it? It's not the water supply, it's the wastewater. But you know what else is in wastewater? It's like cocaine, you know, COVID, polio. I mean, there's all
prescription pills. That's a big. That was a big one for a long time.
A lot of Lexapro, a lot of Adderall. I mean, and then of course in the actual water supply that we drink is a whole bunch of other things. But this is a surveillance technique they've been talking about throughout COVID. We heard it 2 years ago. Oh, yeah, we can detect it everywhere. If anything, it's. All of this to me is just noise, information, fear-mongering, making you afraid. And I think it's working.
Here's where my brain went to. And like I said, this is just my observation of, it made me think. It made me stop and think for a minute. Not that I believe this could happen, but if monkeypox is in the water supply, I mean, not the water supply, but in the sewage, you know, in the sewage. What else is in sewage?
Crocodiles?
Rats.
Oh, yeah. And, oh, man.
And what's the number one way of spreading, what they said the number one carrier animal was?
Is rats.
So if you get I keep saying small, monkeypox in the New York sewage supply and all of those rats.
I lived in New York City in Hell's Kitchen in the 80s, where you literally saw rats as big as chihuahuas.
Yes, I agree. DC, Baltimore, I can attest.
Columbus Circle, right? Columbus Circle. This is before that all got built up. You see Columbus Circle today is not all like back in the Mayflower Hotel days. These rats, man, they climb up 20 stories. No problem.
Big Chilligan Island rats. You know what I'm saying? They ain't no puppy. No. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Now, that said, I never had one in my apartment. I've seen plenty of them down on the street. No one ever talked about, of course, people talked about they spread disease, but we didn't have any specific ones to talk about. So, yeah, this is interesting. I like that. Monkeypox from a rat. No, it doesn't get any better than that.
And guess what? You said they can climb up 30 feet buildings. They also can climb up through your toilet.
Yeah. Well, Mo, I think you should look in your toilet every single time you go. I always do. It's a good policy regardless. We got scorpions who can pop out. You know, it's kind of the same thing. It's like, hey, there's stuff going on here I don't want bitten.
Well, people might think it's a myth that rats can get in through your toilet. Well, here's a report from the National Geographic, number 40.
It's an urban dweller's worst nightmare. A rat in the toilet. It's scary, but it does happen.
Good afternoon. You reach rodent.
Washington, D.C.'s rodent control receives a couple of complaints each year.
You have a rat in your toilet?
How does this ultimate rat invasion actually occur? First, it could easily sneak into grates or manhole covers open to the street. Residential sewer pipes feed into the main tunnel. A rat might consider this path an irresistible opportunity for exploration. Its sharp claws allow the rat to scale almost any vertical surface. The rat is in the home's internal pipes. Going up? Now it faces the biggest test, getting through the last few feet of the narrow, maze-like toilet pipes. Is this even possible? The underwater passage leaves no room for error. At a turn, the rat finds a pocket of air, just enough to help it push on to the end of the line.
Yeah, they can do it. You don't need no History Channel. I could have told you. They can do it.
Russian rats. Courtesy of Vladimir.
Russian rats with monkeypox. Oh, man. Well, you're not, I mean, I know you're affected a little bit, but you're not really you're not looking over your shoulder for a rat to bite you or some down low brother to attack you, are you? You're not seriously too afraid of everything.
No. What I'm saying is if you start to change your habits, it affects you.
Yes.
And with COVID, I was kind of like, I wore a mask at first more because the wife was on my butt about it. But you know what I'm saying? It's like, I didn't turn back around and go get a mask if I didn't have one to go to the 7-Eleven. But definitely with the public bathrooms, things of that nature, I have changed how I moved. And I wanted to share that with people that you could be the most rational person in the world, but well,
we appreciate you sharing. I personally have never been a person for public restrooms. I'm not a fan at all.
No, me either. But I'm just saying that. It would be the last option. Like the total last option, but I am being proactive now. Making sure I don't have that need. It's like, nah.
And here we were all these decades thinking, man, we need AR-15s, we need lots of ammo, we need thousands of rounds, and Vladimir is going to come in here and get us with a rat.
With a rat.
Thank you, Mo. This was entertaining. I didn't expect this type of potluck. It's good. I like how you give me the twofer at the end. That's really good. I might have to use some of these clips. This is good.
You can link a pandemic with Putin. That's
pretty good. That's pretty good. Oh man. Let's not wait so long for our next show.
Of course not. We'll be back on a more frequent basis.
Yes.
And with that said, as I always say, pay attention to everything and the truth will reveal itself.
It might come in the form of a rat, but it will reveal itself. Thanks, Mo. We'll talk to you soon, brother.
All right. Talk to you later, Adam.
Remember, everybody, MoeFactz.com. We'll see you soon.